Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Clockwork Cantina. I am one of your hosts, Josh902, and this is the other host of this show.
DT3, what's going on, guys?
Hi, guys. Hope you're all doing well today. We're gonna be talking about Mando season 3. Sorry, I'm having a moment where I'm trying to make sure I've hit all the right buttons, and I have. Hope you're all doing well today. Welcome to the show. If I feel like it's been like a lifetime, DT, since we did a show, even though it's only been a week. And I'm like, man, it feels so long ago to me. I think because I've just done so much this past week. So yeah, today's show will be the usual, just some gaming, TV, movie news stuff, a trailer or 2 or 3. And then we'll get in the second half where we'll talk about the Mandalorian season 3, and that'll be a fun discussion. DT and I haven't really talked at all about it, so that'll be fun. So let's just go ahead and hop into what we've been up to, DT. What have you been up to this past week, my friend?
I've been watching a lot of TV for once, because for the most part, I really haven't been this year. But a lot of TV, watching movies as well. Some games, not as much. I haven't played as much games as I usually do, but um, played Fortnite, obviously. I tried out the beta, the closed beta or open beta, or I don't know what it was. Beta for X Defiant, the new Ubisoft FPS game. Um, been playing some Valorant. Played some Chivalry 2. Uh, I started and beat Scars Above all on stream. So that was pretty good. What else? I guess that's it video game wise. TV show wise, I started a few shows. I started this anime called Your Boy Kong Ming. I only watched the first 2 episodes, but I'll have to watch the rest. Um, Pretty funny, pretty enjoyable so far. So I watched the first 2. I'll have to check out the rest. It's only 1 season, so it's good. I watched all of season 1 of Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I'm like halfway through season 2 already. So making progress through that. Ash vs. Evil Dead. What a super like campy, funny, like disgusting in moments show. Like it's a lot of fun, man. If you guys like the Evil Dead movies, you will enjoy this show if you haven't already seen it. It's only 3 seasons, 10 episodes a season. So you could like get through it as quickly as I am, because I'm like cruising through it. Yeah, I just watched episode 6 last night, and yeah, I'll probably by this time next week I probably will have finished the show, maybe. So we'll see. But I'm enjoying it. What else? Oh, I've been watching. I don't know if anybody here remembers, but a couple years ago on the podcast, I had mentioned that I was watching this Lego reality competition show called Lego Masters.
I remember.
And yeah, and I watched season 1 like forever ago when it first came out, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And then like there's been a few seasons that have come out since that I haven't kept up with. So I started season 2 and I'm almost done with it. I think I finished episode 8 or so last night uh of season 2. So we're almost done with that. So I'll probably finish this season and then move on to the next one. And then movie wise, I watched some movies. I watched Dazed and Confused, which is pretty funny if you haven't seen that. So just a day in the life of people in the 70s, man. Some kids in the 70s. Good stuff. And then we have Everybody Wants Some, which is basically the same thing, but in the 80s, made same director. There is no like in these type of movies, there is no like antagonist, protagonist, like we're doing it's just we're just chilling with some peoples in a certain point of time, and we're having a good time, man. That's all it is. And then I watched the Game of Death, which is the one of the worst Bruce Lee films I've ever seen, because it isn't really a Bruce Lee film. It's like a it feels like to me that they did this movie like this movie came out after his death, right? He got to film some stuff for it, and um he didn't get to finish like filming it because he passed away, you know, in the process of that. But what they did get to film and like what they filmed afterwards, they just got like some other Asian dude and we're like, all right, Asians look alike, right? You guys won't be able to tell. And
Oh
I'm telling you,
no.
dude, it is so bad, bro. Like just the that movie's so terrible, dude. Like I feel like they just did it. And I shit you not, this is gonna be a bit of a spoiler, but like the character kind of maybe like well not maybe the character like fakes his death or whatever. And I shit you not, they use real footage of Bruce Lee's actual death
Oh
for this.
no.
So this movie is ass cheeks, bro. Like it
Oh
is awful, dude.
no.
It is it's terrible, dude. Like I feel like they just did it to take it like because of how big he was at the time. They're like, "Oh, we got to cash in on his death or whatever." Basically, is what this movie felt like, man. Like I said, even though he did film some stuff for this movie, he didn't get to finish it, you know. So it's like, oh man, what a piece of shit movie, dude. I cannot stress enough how bad this movie this movie is. But anyway, I finally got to watch also Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Um, I I don't like it as much as the first one. I wouldn't say it's a bad movie, but it's just not as fun or like the first movie had a little bit of corniness to it, but I feel like the second one like really really amps up the corniness and the cheesiness, and like Shazam is supposed to be a kind of character that's not super serious or anything. Like I get that, but like at the same time, it's like they went too overboard, kind of. I feel like on this one, and I would kind of compare it to the way okay, so before I say this, it's not exactly the same, but the way I would compare it to is like Shazam 1 is Thor Ragnarok and Shazam 2 is like Love and Thunder.
Okay.
It's kind of like the easiest way to compare them superhero wise. It's not exactly the same, mind you,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like that's like the easiest comparison my brain can make right now. So that's kind of how I think about it. It's cool to see Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu as like, villain characters and stuff and whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it as much. There is some fun stuff like I said in it, but overall uh it's just not where it's at.
It's not it, man. Gotcha.
Saying it, yeah. They do have some fun like cameos and stuff, but other than that, it's like eh. And then I started my Mission Impossible watch through of all the series, of all the movies. I watched the first 3 movies, so I watched Mission Impossible 96, Mission Impossible 2, and Mission Impossible 3. And it's cool like going in order and watching these, and it's like it's also kind of crazy how like they space these out like film wise so much. Like
Mm-hmm.
the first one was like 1996, the second one was 2000, and then like the third one was like 10 years later after the
Yeah.
first one in
It took a
2006.
really long
Like
time for that third
damn,
movie.
like they really like 10 years after the first one, 6 years after the second one, like man, they really like space these out. And then the next one I feel like is another like 5 years, I think, cuz I was looking at the next one is Ghost Protocol if I'm not mistaken. And then that one was like 2011, like 5 years after the third one. It's like, man, they really just they've been spacing these out like crazy, dude. But it's been fun watching these in order, watching who's in each movie and like how, the character of Ethan kind of progresses or, through all that. And yeah, it's cool. am interested to see the rest of them. The only one that I have seen already before is Fallout, so um, it'll be be fun revisiting that one because I really like that one, and then we'll see how the other ones I haven't seen are, which I believe is just Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation. Something like Anyway, I remember Rogue Nation being a thing because at the time Rogue One was coming out, and there was like the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing Rogue Nation, Rogue One, kind of have similar names. But anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to checking that out. Also, we played Blasters and Bandits, and boy, did we leave off. If I don't, I'm not gonna say any spoilers, but boy, we left off on a cliffhanger. If you want to know what I mean, you need to go watch some VODs, man, over on Josh's YouTube, because man, we played, and this whole current arc we're going on the Boo is pretty nuts, man. Go check it out. I didn't expect things to go this way, but hey, man, that's the way it is sometimes. But yeah, I've been having fun with it still. I can't wait. The only thing that's a bummer is that we have to wait 2 weeks to play again. But it's okay. We'll be busy with Jedi Survivor, so it's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it's fun. Go watch the VODs if you haven't. It's a really great time. We have a fun time playing it, and it's cool. So yeah.
All right. Uh, is that all you got, DT?
Yeah.
All
You're
right,
up.
my turn. For me, it has been like I've just been busy doing like work in quotes. I did play some games, and I watched like we watched Ted Lasso, the episode we missed, but we're still like behind an episode. So we watched Ted Lasso, season 3, episode 5, I think. But the game I've been playing is I bought Chef Life, a restaurant simulator. And let me open my Steam here so it can download, kill my internet. Just want to see how long I've been playing it because I'm curious. It shouldn't have a download actually because I updated stuff earlier because I'm smart. I'm
Hell
smart.
yeah.
So I've played 9 hours of Chef Life, a restaurant simulator. I bought. When did I get it? What day did I get? I don't remember what day I got it on, but it's fun. It's a fun little chill game. It has. I'm gonna give it praise because it has options to make the game just chill. Like you can make it so the people that patronize or come to your restaurant don't get impatient while you make their food, and you can set it so the food never burns. If you just want to sit there, chill, and make food and design your restaurant and learn recipes and all that, you can totally do that. Like it has ways for you just to chill out and do that. I'll be honest, I turned those on. Actually, I had the no burning food one on, and I didn't even realize I had that one on. So I was rushing around trying not to burn food, and I didn't even need to worry about it. Apparently, because I had it on. I don't even know how. I did turn on the they don't get angry because their food's not there on time thing because I was just rushing and kind of my anxiety was getting the better of me. So turned it on. And I don't care that if you judge me for having it on, anybody out there, because for me it was just chill and to look at the food and to design my restaurant. So it's fun. I like it. It's not a super expensive game. It has a ton of recipes that you can learn. I haven't even learned like barely anything, so I need to play it some more. Dice making has made its return to the Twitch channel. I've done 2 streams this past week, and one of them was 6 hours. Well, I don't even remember what day it was. It was a long one though. A few days ago, we streamed dice making on stream. I put some lo-fi on, and people hung out, and we did. Maybe it was Friday. No, Friday was the 2-hour stream, wasn't it? Yeah, because Saturday next day is Blasters and Bandits, and I had to stream that day. I think. Was it Wednesday that I did a 6-hour stream? It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal. Whatever day it was, and we polished some dice. We trimmed some dice, and we made some dice, which is the first time I've done that on stream. We literally got resin out You guys got to see me make a giant mess to anybody that was watching on the stream of why I was like hesitant to do it, because when I'm working in the workshop, I just make a giant mess everywhere. There was one point I opened the ink bottle and it just went everywhere. It just did like like a spray, almost. Like I was like, well, I don't know what I was thinking. That was stupid of me to do that on camera, and all that. And it was fun. I enjoyed doing it. And I'll be honest with you, we went so long, I took a lunch break in the middle of it because I didn't even realize I'd been streaming so long without eating and stuff like that. So that was fun, and it was really cool to get to make dice on stream for like the first time ever. I'm going to be doing more of those in the future. I know Jake said something about commissioning a set of dice and just watching the whole process from it made to like to his door. So we might do that, which he's gonna have to wait because I have 3 commissions ahead of him right now.
He's a busy man, all right.
I am. Somebody messaged me earlier. It's like, listen, I want to buy some dice. I said, great. Here's the shop link. They said, I want green. I said, you're boned because there's no other green in the shop.
You're gonna have to wait.
I said, I can make some for you specifically. And that person was like, yeah, we'll do that. So, but I have 2 people ahead of that person. So basically what I'm getting at is I'm gonna be busy next week.
So there's a wait list, guys, right?
Yeah.
Listen, dice are a hot commodity right now. You know, if you
They
want to get some, you need to get your commissions in as soon as you can, because Mr. 902 is a busy boy. All right.
You know what's funny? Literally at 2 p.m., so like an hour ago, roughly, I had an idea for something, and I ran down to the workshop, and I'm like, I can do this in 10 minutes. I know I can, and then I'll get back up here in time to start the stream. I literally ran down to the workshop, mixed up resin, poured color in it, colored it, poured it into a spare mold I have. I have a spare mold of that's blanks, just because the idea I wanted to do is for blanks, so I need to put those in the thing. I should probably explain blanks the next time I stream. They're dice that are smaller than the regular dice, and they have no numbers on them. They go inside like regular dice. So I had an idea, like, just randomly. I'm not gonna tell you guys what it is because it's gonna be a surprise when it gets done. And so yeah, I had an idea and it just struck me, and I ran down there and I was like, I can do this in 10 minutes. I know I can. And I'm just stirring this cup. I'm like, come on, stir it up. This is a terrible motion to be making on stream, but I am. So I poured it into the mold and I got it done, and I made it back up here just in time to start the stream up and get DT into the OBS and all of that stuff. So you never know when inspiration will strike you with that. So, and then the last thing was blasters and bandits. And I'll be honest with you, DT, you talk about you not realizing how long you were going to be on Naboo. I didn't realize how long you guys were going to be here either.
I mean, it's just because it's just like, it was one of those things, like, I just picked the planet, right? Like, oh, we'll go here. And then, like, fucking here we are. It's still there. Like, geez. Like, it's cool, though, you know, because, I mean, I said this, like, during our stream. It's like, who knows how, you know, who knows when the next time we'll be here again, if at all, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know, Naboo's cool. I like Naboo. It's one of the more, for a lack of a better term, one of the more gorgeous / beautiful planets in all of Star Wars. So I'm fine with being there for, you know, as long as we can, right? But it's just one of those things, like, I just picked it out of nowhere because it was closest, and we're still there, you know?
Yeah, and that's like one of the things I'd like to, like, man, wouldn't it be cool if like every 10 episodes or something, or whenever we finish like a major arc, we just all get on voice chat, record like a mini, I say podcast, but like a mini little video of us just talking about it, if people wanted to, and just be like, man, what'd you think of this when this happened at this, you know, did you think you'd be on Naboo that long? What'd you think of all the things going on there? How'd we do? You know, all that type of stuff would be always kind of a fun thing. But yeah, I enjoy blasters and bandits. I love how the dice tell the story. I like how I'm not prepping a lot, which you guys can probably tell sometimes. Sometimes you can, I'm sure, but it's it's nice to be like have players that are part of the creative process, because in D&D I feel like I'm doing a lot of the work in terms of like prep, right? Like I'm prepping the monsters and I'm prepping certain story beats I want to hit, all that stuff. But in the Fantasy Flight system, it's more like, and there's still things I want you guys to hit, and those things I will write down, but a lot of it is like the players are driving. I'm going to let them drive a little bit, and I'm going to hop in the passenger seat, and I'm just going to give some narration and play the characters that they want to interact with. They want to go shopping. All right, they're driving over to the shops. So I'll play, you know, the Ithorian shopkeep for a minute, you know, all that stuff. So it's really, I feel like it's a more collaborative process than maybe D&D is, and that could be a multitude of things. I think the system itself, sorry, we're turning this podcast into a whole other thing, but I'm going to talk about it because it's on my brain.
Hey, man.
It's like the whole, I feel like the system is meant to be like that. Like it is very much like a very little prep game. A lot of games are like that. And it could be like just the players too. Like all the players I have are tabletop veterans, right? Like they've all played the game or a tabletop RPG game before. They may not have played Star Wars FFG before, but they've played like D&D at least, at the very least, before. So I'm sure it's probably like a small adjustment for some of the players to be like giving a lot more input into like the game and what's going on around them, and they get better with each session. But I like it a lot more because it feels less antagonistic, which is, I feel this way about D&D a lot. Like a lot of times, and it's really nobody's fault, the game is kind of set up like the DM a lot of times can feel like an antagonist in tabletop RPGs, or sorry, in D&D specifically. I haven't played every tabletop RPG. Some of them are meant for the DM to be antagonistic, but like this just feels more like we're working together to do a thing, right? Instead of like, here's this thing where I'm the obstacle. I don't feel like I'm the obstacle in the Fantasy Flight game. You know what I mean? Like, and that could just be like how I view the game, and it could be how the players view the game and all that type of stuff. Like, we could do a whole podcast on this. If we ever do, I would love to get just like all the people that really think about these tabletop systems as a guest, you know, like, but that's just kind of my thought process. I like the system a lot is what I'm getting at. And I it's one reason why I want people to branch out and try things other than Dungeons and Dragons, like specifically, you know, like because there's so many options.
Yeah, I would love to. Like, if we ever like, whenever we do another like game or campaign or whatever, I definitely would like to try another system other than D&D. D&D's fun, but I think as I play more of these games, I'm like, I really like don't care for the combat stuff as much. I'd rather just do the role playing side of it. So I feel like I'd rather try systems that are more geared for the role playing kind of aspects of it, you know?
That's the thing. It's like Dungeons and Dragons is definitely built on like, and people can disagree with me if they want to, but I think they're wrong. It's like I feel like combat comes first in D&D than the story. Like I really do. I feel like everything is built around having bigger numbers than this thing you're trying to fight. And like, yeah, you can turn it into story. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, yeah, definitely like you focus on the numbers more is what I was gonna say. That's all.
Yeah. And that's another thing is like definitely with Fantasy Flight thing, it's like there's numbers, but they're very small and they're just their characteristics. All it determines is how many dice you roll, right? But like when you roll the dice, that's not numbers. You're not necessarily doing math. It's symbols, right? And obviously with the online system, it kind of mitigates us having to do the hard work of using the system, which is like these cancel each other out, right? Like Foundry just removes the things that cancel each other out, so you only get the final result, which is nice. But symbols instead of numbers, I don't know, it just kind of, I feel like it stimulates you a little more than just being like, here is math, enjoy this math, you know? But here's this symbol, this success symbol. What does success mean? What does failure mean? What do triumphs mean? And what do despairs mean? You know, like in advantages. and threat. What are all these symbols mean, as opposed to, all right, here's a 15. I'll roll that number. I'll add my modifier. There's another 5. That's a 10. I roll. All right, I rolled a 20. What does that mean? You know, like I succeed or I fail. I feel like the symbols really kind of stimulate the brain a little more to work than just here's math. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with Dungeons and Dragons. I'm not. I enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. I'm just saying it's a different flavor. Sure, yeah. And some of the things I like about the Fantasy Flight system, I'm sure there's tons of people out there that would hate probably or not like the Fantasy Flight system versus loving the numbers of D&D, and that's perfectly fine. There's different flavors for everybody out there. But yeah, I just love the collaborative storytelling process. It's a lot easier with the Fantasy Flight system. So, but yeah, if we're ready to go ahead and move on, table that discussion. Hell, we might talk about it more next week because we are going to have a tabletop one slotted in. So let's just go ahead.
Another tabletop game.
Yeah.
Or episode. My bad, not game.
You good?
Yeah, let's do it if you're ready.
I'm ready. Let's hit this gaming news, huh?
All right, go for it. So first piece of gaming news we got here, we have the Handler archetype reveal trailer for Remnant 2.
Venturing into
so a couple trailers here to check out. So let's do that.
Also, let me turn Daniel up a little bit. I usually turn you up every week, and I didn't do it this week. There we go. I want the stream to be able to hear you very well.
Can you hear me now, stream?
We can. Let's hit this.
So, first trailer. 3, 2, 1, go.
Venturing into the apocalypse alone can be daunting, so bringing a friend is always a good idea. This is Tragic from Gunfire Games, introducing the Handler. In Remnant 2,
aka Phenom's class,
loyal companion work together to take down the toughest enemies through cooperation and friendship. As a jack of all trades, this duo brings a bit of everything to any team. Their perks are designed for utility. They boost movement and revive speeds and allow the entire team to move swiftly as a pack. As a bonus, when the companion is near the handler, they automatically heal over time. The speed of the heal can be greatly increased by showing your friend some love. Good boy. The cornerstone of the handler's perks is the Prime, Bonded. This allows the companion to automatically revive the handler with the handler's own relic. It can also be used to revive down teammates.
Smart dog.
Cool. Unlike other archetypes, the handler slots behaviors, which modify the companion and grants them unique passive buffs and activatable skills. The handler doesn't have traditional archetype skills, but instead uses commands to instruct their companion on the battlefield. With commands, you can instruct your companion to attack, call them back to your side, and even have them guard an ally.
That's cool. That's actually really cool.
Instruct them to activate their special howls.
Special howl? Is it a wolf?
Guard dog passively causes the companion to draw more aggro and take less damage. Their howl greatly increases aggro generation and grants the entire team a defensive buff for a short period of time. Their second behavior, support dog, passively grants a heal over time to any nearby ally. Their howl boosts the effectiveness and size of the heal. Their third behavior, attack dog, passively increases the companion's damage. Their howl grants the entire team a damage buff. When it's time to go all out, attack dog is the way. Rounding out their kit is the archetype trait, Kinship. It reduces all friendly fire dealt and received, which works wonders for keeping everyone in the fight. It also allows players who play fast and loose with deadly explosives a bit more leeway. The companion can never truly die. If overwhelmed in combat, they'll lay down to rest until the handler has a chance to encourage them back on their feet. Come on, buddy. Players who love teamwork and want their very own loyal companion will find themselves right at home with the handler. Solo or co-op, teamwork makes the dream work.
I'm just thinking of parties with nothing but dogs. The whole crew is just handlers.
Everybody.
Just everybody rolls in with their dogs, dude. Like that'd be cool.
I mean,
the wolf
Phenom. Phenom's gonna be all about that.
Yeah.
Now, honestly, that class looks like
It's fun.
really. It's gonna be real handy, man. Like, as long as you got somebody who plays that class, you'll be set. Dude. A lot of buffs, a lot of like, support kind of, Helio. So it's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. The game looks fun, man. It looks better than the first one. So I definitely want to try that out at some point. Chance.
I gotcha. Yeah, I want to play it too.
Yeah, it looks fun for sure. Let's see. Moving on. However, we got another trailer here. This is official early gameplay for Unrecord, which is a single-player FPS that tells the story of a tactical police officer from the perspective of his body camera. As you work to solve a complex case, you'll need to use your tactical and detective skills to succeed. So this is again from an early build of the game. All right, 3, 2, 1, go. This is like Ready or Not, but single player.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
I saw some people saying like, "Well, this is cool that it's so like realistic looking that it feels almost icky to play it in some ways. Like it just like it's a personal thing. It's not like a I hate this in general thing. It's just a thing that hits you. The thing I've noticed is that the head bob is making me already feel kind of sick to my stomach, a little bit.
Like it motion sickness kind of deal.
Yeah, and I'm not somebody that gets that really. Usually.
Yeah, I could definitely see this not being for everybody. It looks interesting and
I think it's cool, like it looks this good, and
again, this is only an early build of it too, so
yeah,
like, I'm very interested to see what it looks like in a near finished state.
Yeah. You need a horror game like this, bruh.
Yeah,
bruh. I'd be.
Can you imagine a horror game like this? That'd be interesting, dude.
But I had to play it. I had to play it from the toilet. I'd be shitting constantly, bro. Like when I put the VR thing on, you remember, and that T-Rex was coming at me. That shit was scary when I messed with that at one time. So. Oh damn.
Oh man. You didn't get to find out where Oscar is, man.
People were criticizing as FMV instead of render graphics. I did not see that, Majin.
It's funny because like I could see how people would think it's FMV. Like it looks like almost that good, you know. But
I would take that as a compliment.
Right? I'd be like, shit, okay.
All right.
You think our game looks that good? This is only the early footage, man. Like, but yeah, it looks neat. I definitely will give it a try at some point as well. I like I said, I played Ready or Not, and it reminds me of that. But this is gonna be like a single player version of that. So
yeah, I need them to tone down like the head weaviness. They probably won't because it's meant to be realistic, but just from a pure technical standpoint, it does make me feel a little queasy in the stomach personally. So I would like to give it a try, but I do not want to throw up while playing it. Hey, DT, what do we got next?
So we could watch the Street Fighter 6
Sure.
gameplay Avatar battle trailer, and then we'll move on to the other. So yeah, let's check this out first. Since we'll just watch all these trailers here in a row,
Hell yeah.
then let's check it out. Yeah, so this is a 2-minute trailer for Street Fighter 6. It's the World Tour gameplay and Avatar battle trailer. So 3, 2, 1, go.
I'm actually interested in this, even though I'm not like a fighter game person. I've said it before on stream.
Yeah.
A developing nation of little significance, tucked away in a remote corner of Asia. It's rather fascinating.
Oh, that makes my legs hurt. Oh, hell no. Get that energy drink.
Yeah.
What the hell? He's fighting a refrigerator.
All the
Over here.
customization going on.
Customize your dude.
Ooh. The Battle Hub. Damn.
So yeah, I say I'm interested in it, and then I see them fighting each other, and I'm like, yeah, I'd get my ass kicked so quick.
Right? I'm like, there's no way I'd be able to do any of it. Like, I just online fighting games, dude. Nope. I don't even play fighting games single player, bro. Like, online, there's no chance.
Learn that from the best. Street Fighter 6.
Cool.
There it is.
There's so many games coming out this year. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. June 2nd. All right. What's that? Cool. The next thing we got here is that Diablo 4 is going to be getting another open beta weekend next month.
Of course, they waited till I uninstalled the fucking thing to tell me this. These sons of bitches.
Diablo 4 may have gone gold, but Blizzard wants to ensure the servers are durable once more before launch. Thus, it's opening the gates of Sanctuary to players one more time in a third open beta next month. The next test weekend, dubbed Server Slam Weekend, it begins May 12th at 12 p.m. Pacific and ends May 14th at the same time. As the name suggests, Blizzard is running this beta to stress test the servers to make sure they're as sturdy as possible come June. This slice of the game is similar to the March betas in terms of content, but will include updates and bug fixes garnered from feedback to the previous betas. Server Slam Weekend will be a clean slate as progression from the previous betas does not carry over. Additionally, the beta supports couch co-op, crossplay, and cross-progression. Players can explore Fractured Peaks in its entirety through the prologue and Act 1, complete world events, and face Ashava, the toughest available world boss. Completing challenges can earn the following rewards. The initial Casualty title earned by reaching Kilvashad with one character. The early Voyager title earned by reaching level 20 on one character. The Beta Wolf Pack cosmetic earned by reaching level 20 with one character. And a new reward, the Cry of Ashava Mount Trophy, earned by defeating Ashava with one level 20 character. So there you have it.
Cool.
For those of you who are interested in the game and maybe didn't get a chance to try it out or want to try it out again, get some of these, rewards before the
Yeah.
game comes out.
Go get your wolf pack.
You have a chance.
Backpack.
next up, we have some news about PlayStation acquiring a new studio. They've acquired Firewalk Studios, and the team is developing a AAA multiplayer game. They announced it on the PlayStation blog, noting that it's been in a publishing partnership with Firewalk Studios and Probably Monster since 2021, and that it's now happy to expand that relationship by bringing the studio under the PlayStation umbrella. The studio has been working on its first original AAA multiplayer game for PlayStation, and it sounds like development on that will continue. Since announcing our publishing partnership with Probably Monsters and Firewalk in 2021, we continue to be impressed by the team's ambitions to build a modern multiplayer game that connects players in a new and innovative ways. The head of PlayStation, Herman Holst, writes in the blog, "The studio shares our passion for creating inspiring worlds grounded in exceptional gameplay, and we want to continue to invest in their mission. We're excited to bring their technical and creative expertise to the PlayStation studios to help grow our live service operations and deliver something truly special for gamers." Um, PlayStation's acquisition of Firewalk Studios is also the largest in the line of multiple that have happened across the industry in the past year. It started with Take Two Interactive in 2022, parent company behind GTA, announcing in January that it was acquiring mobile giant Zynga for nearly $13 billion. Then a week later, Microsoft announced that it was acquiring Activision Blizzard, uh, the company behind Overwatch and Call of Duty, for a colossal $68.7 billion. 2 weeks later, Sony revealed that it was buying Bungie for $3.6 billion. Following that, Sony acquired Jade Raymond's new studio, Haven Studios. You know, reading all this, it is kind of funny how for a while there was all these acquisitions going on at the same time.
Mm.
It's like, oh, we got news of this and that. No, wait, they're doing this and this as well. It's like, damn,
Here's all these billion we're gonna
billions
spend.
of fucking dollars that are just being thrown around for all these acquisitions. Yeah. So that's we'll see.
Cool.
New AAA multiplayer game. See what that's like. But yeah, moving on. Guerrilla Games teases Aloy's next adventure in a new studio statement. Just a few days away from the launch of Horizon Forbidden West Burning Shores DLC last week, Guerrilla Games has teased more adventures with Aloy. This news comes from a statement released by the studio to announce that studio director and executive producer Angie Smets is leaving Guerrilla to serve as the head of development strategy for PlayStation Studios. It's a move similar to the one that the team's former managing director Herman Hulse made in 2019, transitioning from that director position to the head of Sony Interactive Entertainment Worldwide Studios. Within the statement, Guerrilla teases what could be Horizon 3, or at least a third game in Aloy's world. We have full confidence in our new leadership as they steer Guerrilla towards a bright future, expanding the world of Horizon with Aloy's next adventure in our exciting online project. So there is potential for another, maybe a third game or another game in the series, as well as a multiplayer game, which we know that they have been working on. We've talked about that in the past as well. Um, but yeah, this is it's pretty cool. It's interesting. I like the Horizon world. I've only played the first game, but I eventually want to get to the second game. The first one was such a good time. Aloy's a fun character. So yeah, definitely good news that they are still planning on continuing this whole, uh, I guess world in several different games and whatnot. So I see this as good news.
Yeah.
And yeah, definitely excited to see what they come up with in the future.
All right.
That'll do it for our gaming news.
DT, I do have one thing. It isn't
Oh,
news. but it's a game thing, and the reason I'm going to bring it up is because it's something I talked about with Bigfoot the other day, and you may have been there when we were talking about it. I'm going to DM it to you.
Okay.
And I would like just to read some of it. That has to do about making characters and who are better suited to write these characters than the people that make games. And I specifically mentioned, funny enough, to Bigfoot, which is BioWare, because we play Mass Effect, obviously, and we were talking about how they write characters. And so there's an article here by PC Gamer titled Mike Laidlaw, who worked on Dragon Age and some of Mass Effect, explains how their writer's room tackled companions. So the reason we were talking about this, I'm not going to go into... There was a book that came out recently for a big franchise. I'm not going to name names or anything like that, but some of us very much did not like that book because it dealt with some characters from a video game written by somebody that doesn't really seem to understand those characters very well. So I wanted to read this article, not as like, look, this is how you do it, but to explain what I was getting at and some of that. So I'm going to read some of it. I might read all of it. It's not that long, and we have time. We don't really have a ton of news, so why not? So the title of this is Mike Laidlaw explains how the Dragon Age Writers' Room tackled companions. This article is over on PC Gamer, and it says... Let me get all fancy here. Companions are a defining feature of BioWare RPGs. The band of NPC followers who join your party in games like Baldur's Gate and Dragon Age weren't just a collection of yes elves who quietly went along with every decision you made. They pushed back and disagreed and would sometimes leave to go do their own thing. Each of these companions had a distinct personality and voice. That's why there is still no better argument starter among BioWare's players than asking who the best and worst BioWare companions are. And so when a group of veteran RPG designers came together for a recent GDC roundtable hosted by PC Gamer, the question of how the writers managed their casts came up. Obsidian's Josh Sawyer took the opportunity to ask Mike Laidlaw, in quotes here, at BioWare, was there a standard method for development of the cast of companions and individual companions? Laidlaw was the former creative director of the Dragon Age series, as well as being lead writer on Jade Empire and a designer on the first Mass Effect. But it's Dragon Age he knows most intimately, and so he answered by explaining how the writer's room worked across the 3 Dragon Age games he worked on, dividing the companions between them and collaborating when those characters interacted. Quoted as saying, "We were firmly in the camp of, you own this character, you are the voice holder for this character," Laidlaw said. "I imagine that's fairly common. Then you have someone do a pass at the end of the game to go through the character and make sure it fits. But we would typically sit in writing rooms and the writers would shout out. You'd have Mary Kirby owning Varric, and Lucas Christensen would be like, hey, what would Varric say to this thing that Sarah says? She'd go like, he'd probably get annoyed, and she'd throw in a line or something like that. Each companion had areas of the setting that they needed to represent and have something to say about. I'm not going to get into spoilers because DT is going to play Dragon Age soon, so there is like, it just kind of is like, in the case of this dwarven character, who is a well-liked rogue from Dragon Age, and he's meant to be like mercantile, and he represents the dwarves, Laidlaw explains. But that companion's dedicated writer would still be free to control certain aspects of who they are, which is why this character may or may not be a romance option. Mary says she's like, the character that was writing the dwarf and his name Mary, she's like, not romanceable, because I don't do that, because she doesn't write romances. You would love Varric, Majin, I'm telling you that right now. Fair enough, Mary just hates writing romances. I'm like, good that they don't all need to be romanceable. Ensuring there were companions who reacted to each game's themes and central conflict was the aim of Dragon Age from the start. I fell in love with Baldur's Gate 2 more than anything, Laidlaw said. Seeing Jaheira, Aerie, and Vicona. I've never played Baldur's Gate, so I don't know how to actually pronounce character names. Represent not the complete, but a definite, very disparate elf experience. I was like, it'd be nice to do more of that. We would talk about what kind of questions are we asking the player in the game. Whether it's mages versus Templars, or freedom and security, or overreach of power, or whatever kind of stuff was being dealt with. We almost chart like, okay, we need characters that represent different viewpoints on those. Having companions with differing opinions on all those issues left them free to also write companions who didn't stand in for a specific philosophy. The people who didn't have to care, as Laidlaw says. In Inquisition, they formed Team Yellow, which is these characters that I'm not going to name. And people are like, oh, whatever, let's just kill shit, which is also valid, right? So, just a little bit about how they ran their writer's room. It was the whole... Wow. Apparently, this was an 80-minute conversation that there was a recording of. I'm going to have to listen to that later. I'm going to save this. Wow. Yeah. So, I just thought it was kind of cool how they talk about their writer's room and how they... You know, it's not one person writing multiple characters. Like, here, we just divide this up and split them. And, like, here's, you write this character, I'll write this character. How would they interact with each other? Well, you just ask the person that's writing that character, you know, that type of thing. So it's cool. Like, and the whole thing that kind of came up above when we were talking about that book was, like, who knows these characters better than the writers? Like, that actually write the characters in the game. Not the person that they just give them to a book to do that is a very bad book. So... yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Or in my opinion, it's a very bad book. It seems to be in a lot of other people's opinions too. But we can move on from the gaming news, DT, and move into the television news. I just wanted to throw that in here because I thought it was a cool discussion to have.
Sounds good. Yeah, let's move on to the TV news. No, that is an interesting. I mean, we could go on about fucking that some more, but
yeah.
So I feel like that's a topic for a whole other day. All right, well, let's move on then.
Let's hit it. TV news, my friend.
Television. So first thing we got here is that the Knuckles live action TV series is officially underway and the cast has been revealed. So months before the premiere of the very successful Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Paramount announced plans to create a live-action spin-off TV show starring Knuckles. After a year of silence, we know the project is officially underway, as well as the cast that will bring the series to life. Sonic the Hedgehog director Jeff Fowler also is directing this series, and he tweeted the image of a Knuckles clapperboard, complete with the character's cowboy hat that he donned in the 90s animated film Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Production is currently taking place in London, with Sonic the Hedgehog 2 screenwriter John Whittington serving as head writer and executive producer. The show is expected to premiere on Paramount Plus later this year, with Idris Elba reprising his role as Knuckles. Variety also reports that other returning stars from the films include Adam Pally as Wade Whipple, Tika Sumpter as Maddie. The cast also includes Eddie Patterson, Julian Barat, Scott Mescudi, and Ellie Taylor, as well as Rory McCann. And we know that this series is set after the second movie, but before the third film, which is set to release next year. So yeah, I still haven't seen the second movie, but the first movie was actually like surprisingly pretty decent for like a video game movie. So I gotta check out the second one of these days. I think probably within the next week I'll probably check it out. I'll report back maybe what I think about it. Because like I said, I'm not even the biggest Sonic fan, but I did enjoy the first movie. I thought it was pretty decent, pretty solid for a video game movie.
Yeah, I haven't watched either of them, so I'm bad is what I am. What's next?
Next up, we have a trailer for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 2. I haven't seen this yet.
I didn't watch it either. I just threw it in here.
I decided to save my my reaction for you all here. Um, so yeah, let's give this a go.
Let's
Shall we?
let's hit it.
All right. In 3, 2, and 1, go.
Oh, I didn't realize I had a fucking pre-roll.
In the mystery and vastness of space, we come together. So many crew members from so many planets, everyone on their own journey.
Ready for some fancy flying, Erica?
Oh, you know I've got this.
I'm thinking it's a sign that the freckles in our eyes are mirror images. Meet James Kirk. You have an energy.
What?
It's making me sweat.
Okay.
Klingons!
Oh man. Leave your world behind because they're going to strange new ones.
Always alone. Not on this ship.
Three great wonders and great danger. The next great age of exploration starts with us.
Are you gonna say your thing? Everyone in the chair has their thing.
I would like the ship to go. Now.
Okay. No. All right, Spock.
Never seen a revolving door before.
I'm from space.
All right.
I'm looking forward to that. I love the first season, so
I like I really enjoyed the first season. It's about like the only Star Trek show that I watched, so I enjoy it, have fun with it. Looking forward to seeing what they bring for season 2. Yeah, I definitely am excited for that. That's like coming out like sooner rather than later. It's like June, right?
yeah, June 16th, I think it said something like that. It's June, somewhere in June.
But yeah, season 1 was pretty good. If you guys haven't checked that out, there's even like a funny like D&D type of episode in it. It's cool.
Yeah,
It's fun.
and they're crossing over with the. I think they're supposed to cross over with the animated series.
Oh, they are, yeah, with Lower Decks.
Yeah, Lower Decks, and I watched some of it, and it's pretty funny.
So
So
June
that'll be
15th,
interesting.
I see it again. June 15th is when it's supposed to be coming out. So yeah, that's pretty soon. I'm like trying to watch TV shows in the meantime to catch up on some other stuff I haven't seen before this and Secret Invasion and some other stuff comes out. So
Right.
yeah. But anyway, yeah, fun. Looks good. So definitely you know, definitely will be checking that out. Anyway.
All right, what's next?
Next up, the creators of Stranger Things are studying a new supernatural series on Netflix called The Burrows. The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance creators Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews will serve as showrunners on the 8-episode drama. Stranger Things creators Matt and Ross Duffer are ramping up their next acts on Netflix. 10 days after announcing an animated series set within Stranger Things universe, Duffer Brothers have scored a series order for The Burrows, a sci-fi drama from the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance duo Jeffrey Addis and Will Matthews. The project, which was first announced last July as part of their 9-figure overall deal with the streamer, is based on an original idea from Addis and Matthews. The Burrows takes place in a seemingly picturesque retirement community in the New Mexico desert, and like Stranger Things, revolves around a group of unlikely heroes who must band together to stop an otherworldly threat from stealing the one thing they don't have: time. So, you know what this sounds like to me? You want to know what this sounds like to me, Josh?
Tell me.
This sounds like to me like the Stranger Things guys are like, we don't want to stop doing Stranger Things, but our cast does. So we'll end the show because everybody wants out, but we still want to keep doing it. So we're gonna make another show that's almost exactly the same thing, set in a different area, and because we want to keep this ball rolling of doing the same shit we've been doing.
Look, we're on
That's
this
kinda-
we're on this gravy train with biscuits wheels, baby. Let's go.
We're going from Indiana to New Mexico. Let's go.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess. They won't keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Yes, man.
I mean, here's the thing. They're, regardless of how we feel about it, right? Like, they're making money. They want to keep making money.
Sure. I just think it's interesting though. They want to keep kind of towards the same thing that they are like they did already. You know.
Maybe
You figure like people
they don't have another idea.
I mean, maybe not, but it's just like I just feel like creatives, like whenever they're like, all right, we spent some time with this thing, we're gonna do something completely different this time now, you know?
Or they
But
take
they're
a
like,
break for
"No."
a while, right? Like these guys aren't even
Yeah.
gonna like take a break for a while. They're just gonna move right into the next deal.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I'm gonna be curious about is how different is this gonna be from Stranger Things? Because just based off of this, it sounds like it's damn near the same thing. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Gravy train with biscuit wheels.
All right, then.
All right, let's look at this next thing we have here.
The next thing we have here is we have some casting news for a couple shows. The first one is for the Wheel of Time, which I still haven't seen. I gotta check this out as well. But the Wheel of Time season 2 cast adds Chiad and Bane among 4 new recurring characters. So Danish model actress Maya Samuelson, Icelandic actress and former Olympic swimmer Raga Ragnars, and Irish actor Jay Duffy, New Zealand singer and actress comedian Rima Te Wiata, in recurring roles for the hit fantasy drama's upcoming second season. The announcement was made during the virtual panel at Jordan Con, which I don't even know what Jordan Con is, but it's a thing.
For Robert Jordan again.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
The author.
The 4 will play familiar characters from, there you go, Robert Jordan's best-selling novel. So yeah, probably you're right. Yeah. Simonson and Ragnars will portray Kiad and Bane. I don't even know if I'm saying those names right, but that's,
To be fair, not easy to say some of the names in Wheel of Time.
Kiad is a maiden of the spear with the stones river stepped of the Goshian Ale, who is bonded as a first sister to Bane. Duffy will play Dane Bornhold, a high-ranking officer of the Children of the Light, while Wiata plays Sheriam Bayanar, an influential Aes Sedai of the Blue Aja.
Blue Aja.
These names, bro.
Aes Sedai, Blue Aja. The names are crazy.
They are. So yeah, I haven't read the books or I haven't watched the show, but as somebody who has, what are you thinking? Your thoughts on this?
I wasn't crazy over the show. It's okay, you know. If I get hung up on the book stuff, which I shouldn't. I don't like some of the changes they made, but I let it go and just kind of watched the show for what it was. As for the casting here, it's been so long since I fucking went through the real-time books that I don't even hardly remember. There's so many characters to keep track of too. It's like I don't even remember who's who anymore in these books, you know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to check out. I kind of want to see what you think of the show, to be honest. Like I would like for you to watch it, and I'd like to hear your thoughts on what you think.
At some point, there's a lot to go through. I'm trying, man. I'm trying to catch up on stuff like right now, like literally as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, trying, man. Eventually, we'll get there. Yeah. We got nothing else to say to that. We got some other casting news for another fantasy show. from one fantasy show to another, House of the Dragon season 2 has cast Alice Rivers and 3 more other characters. So, Gail Rankin will play Alice Rivers, a healer and resident of Harrenhal. Alice is a witch who has mystical visions and becomes a powerful figure within the Targaryen's Green faction. Rankin has previously appeared on other Netflix shows such as Glow.
Oh, I know who she is. That's right. Sorry. I talked without reading.
No, you're good. You're good.
Uh,
I just the realization of Josh was like, oh, that's who that is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in Glow, it's just hard to recognize. She looks different.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, Sheila the She-Wolf.
Yeah.
And then Simon Russell Beale will play Sir Simon Strong, the Castellan of Harrenhal and great uncle to Lord Lara Strong. Great uncle to Lord Lara Strong. Freddie Fox will play Sir Gawain Hightower, the son of Otto Hightower, and brother to Queen Alicent, and uncle to her children, King Aegon, Queen Helena, and Prince Aemon. Abubakar Salim will play Alan of Hull, a sailor in the Valerian fleet who served in the Stepstones campaign. Season 2 of House of the Dragon will be 8 episodes, down from the 10 in season 1. And it'll be probably premiering sometime next year. So there you have it.
That's exciting. I like that Sheila the She-Wolf's going to be in House of the Dragon. That's cool, man. I'm glad she got another job after Glow and all that. So that's cool. I liked her. That's why I was like, oh.
Yeah. Awesome. So that is our TV news.
All right, quick and easy. We can move on. What's our...
Speaking of quick and easy, our movie news is going to be just as short as well. So if you're ready for that,
let's hit it.
All right. The first thing in the movie news is that we think, or we have, I actually haven't seen this, but it's a really short title reveal for the next Godzilla and Kong movie of the Monsterverse. So let's check it out, shall we?
So I saw this already. It was on Twitter, and I didn't realize what it was when I saw it until the end.
Gotcha. I haven't seen it. I just put it in here, and I'm like, we'll check it out, for the show. So 3, 2, 1, let's go. Godzilla X Kong, the new empire.
Man, I can't believe Godzilla and Kong got married.
Hey man, it's 2023, bro. Anybody can get married, right?
True. It's true.
Also, yeah, fucking King Louis over there in the background looking mighty ominous, dude.
He has no style. He has no grace. This Kong will in the human race. Sorry, I was looking at the comments. that just tickled me.
I see that. Yeah. Bro. That's funny.
No.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Okay. Lordy.
All right, moving on. I mean, I think it's an interesting name. I don't know what the the new empire, like, King Louis about to cause a wreak havoc and try to fight both Kong and Godzilla. Like, I don't. How many kaiju we gonna see in this movie? I don't know, but I kind of hope the vibe goes more towards like Godzilla 2014. But I don't know. The past few movies have been kind of personally. Anything else said or no?
No. I'm good. I'm just gonna DM you something really quick.
Okay.
But we move on to the next thing.
Moving on to the next story, however, we got Ted Lasso's Juno Temple is landing a lead role in Sony and Marvel's Venom 3. With her hit Apple series Ted Lasso coming to a close, Emmy nominee Juno Temple looks to have found a major global franchise to follow it up with. As sources tell Deadline, she's in negotiations to co-star in Sony and Marvel's Venom 3. Tom Hardy set to return. With longtime writer Kelly Marcel taking over directing duties. Marcel and Hardy will produce. Plot details are unknown other than Hardy is returning, obviously. Otherwise, what the hell are they doing? But yeah. Juno Temple's been kind of busy with lining up future projects now that Ted Lasso's kind of gonna be over, right?
Yeah.
She's gonna be in Fargo as well, which that's another show I need to watch, man. Fucking Fargo. I've seen the Fargo movie and it's great, but I have not seen the show, and it's got like 5 seasons now, and I'm like,
I've
damn,
never seen it. Yeah.
I gotta catch up on that shit, man. So, yeah.
She was also in The Offer, and she had a pretty big role in that little mini series about The Godfather that I watched. She has an American accent in it, and it throws me the fuck off. Because I saw her in Ted Lasso first.
Yeah. No, I get you. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say these movies are the best, the Venom movies. They're actually not that they're not great at all, really. But I mean, the first one was kind of I say this every time, but it's like a 90s movie.
Passable.
It's like a
Yeah.
90s movie in modern day is what it felt like to me. And I have yet to see the second one. That's probably another one I'll watch. I've seen Morbius, so how much worse can it get, right? I'll probably watch within the next week Sonic 2, Venom 2, some of these other movies I haven't caught up yet, and then I'll let you know. I'll let you know what I think about it. But they're not the best, but we just we like to see people be like getting work. So, good for her.
Yep.
Another thing we got here is that Chris Sanders is in final talks to return as the voice of Stitch, the live action Lilo and Stitch. So we've been getting a lot of casting news lately for the Lilo and Stitch live action movie. And the original voice for Stitch is also in negotiations to return for the live action movie, which I feel like makes sense, right? I mean, Stitch is probably going to be CG, so you don't really need an actor, like a physical actor there. So, you know, get you the original voice, and you'll be good to go. So this makes sense for them to do it, and I think yeah, it'll only be a good thing. So yeah, just crazy that the original movie came out like 20 years ago, man. That's nuts, dude. But that's the way it is.
That's the way it is.
Anyway, the last thing we have here for the movie news is we have a new poster for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It just dropped like 40 minutes ago, by the way. So that's what I was DMing DT. I was like, we want to show this? Let's show this. Because I like looking at posters. And I like this poster.
Freaking new. Yeah, this is like this is definitely one of those posters that would be cool to own,
Mm-hmm. I'd like to have this poster.
Yeah. Yep. Put it on my imaginary wall because I don't have a lot of wall space. Yeah. Absolutely. Very, very cool.
Cool poster.
Definitely. And I can't wait to see that movie too. So.
I can't either, and I'm going to the movies to see it because I did do the last one, not regret it. So much.
And yeah, I agree, Majin. It definitely looks like we're getting maybe a love story between Miles and Gwen in this one.
Yeah. I love love. Let's go.
All right, man. That'll do it for our not only movie news but our news for the week.
News is complete. DT, you need a break, or do you want to keep rolling?
I could keep going. I don't need one. Do you need one?
Nah, I'm good. Let's keep rolling. Let's
All right, well,
move into it.
Let's head on straight to it then. It is time for the third season of the Disney Plus Lucasfilm Star Wars series, The Mandalorian. So the season's now over. We been watching every episode week to week. I mean, I always watch every episode as soon as it drops. So I'm always like, I don't get spoiled by nothing. I watch it right away. Um, and yeah, it's kind of crazy to think that the season's over now. Like we for the longest time we were waiting for this, and then now it's just over.
Cool.
Now we have now the wait begins again. The wait begins again, man. Which kind of I don't know. It kind of sucks, but at the same time, it's like, well, we had a season. We just saw it. We waited before this one like what 2 years?
Yep.
We had like a 2 year wait from last one or 3 years maybe. I don't even know. It's been a while, dude. But yeah, I hope they don't make us wait this long for the next season. Hopefully, the rumor is that they're supposed to be starting filming season 4 later this year, which I hope they do. Which if that's the case, and that means we'll get season 4 uh next year, right?
Oh.
But yeah. So, how do you want to go about this, Josh? I know we always do the did you like it or not kind of deal at first. Do you want to do that to start
Yeah,
us
sure.
off, or what do you
Sure, we
want to
can do
do?
that. How do you feel
All
about
right.
it, DT? How do you feel about this season? You like it, love it?
How do
What's the
I
deal?
feel about this season? I liked it. I enjoyed it. I would say that there are some episodes that I feel like are stronger than others, which is funny because I after the season ended, I like did a quick ranking of like all of the episodes like of this season, like from my favorite to least favorite.
Mm.
And then I rewatched I rewatched an episode a couple times and I moved my order around a little bit. So I'm curious if you have like if you ranked the episodes at all.
Sure didn't.
You sure didn't? That's fine. I did. I'll share mine. I'll share my list. You don't have to. You
No,
know,
I got you.
I'm not putting you on the spot or anything. I
I
was just
will
wondering if
name
you
off
did.
some of
That's
my
all.
favorites, but I didn't rank anything when we
Yeah,
get
I
to
just
that
like
part.
yeah. For me, I was just like these are ones like I enjoyed for the most part the whole season, but there are definitely some episodes that I thought were weaker for sure.
I know at least a
Um,
couple of them, I think.
but overall, I did enjoy the season. I think like are super exaggerated about like this season sucked and all that kind of stuff, you know? Like some people like really did not enjoy this season, right?
Mm.
I did. You did as well, right?
Yeah, I won't say I loved it. I'll say I liked it. There's definitely
Yeah.
and there are parts in it that I love, like that I think are really cool, and we'll obviously get into those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say I liked it. I'm not gonna be like it's the worst thing ever. No, it's not. Like get out of here, man.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like to a lot of people, if it's not the best thing ever made, it's the worst thing ever made. There is no in
right? Yeah.
between for some of these people.
There are no. They want to do extremes all the
It's
time.
it's always extremes. If it's not the best thing ever made, it's the worst thing ever made. There is no like this is good or this is maybe, not so good, but it's not terrible, It's like people are just always one end of the spectrum or the other. It's always one or the other. It's never the in between. Um but yeah, I know we'll probably also talk about like how we compare this season to other seasons, but I think first we should actually talk about the
Yeah,
season, and
let's talk about it. Let's
then
do
we'll
it.
get to that point. So we had 8 episodes this season, as we did for the previous 2 seasons. Nothing has changed. It's been 8 episodes every time. So we started off with chapter 17, The Apostate. Then we have chapter 18, The Mines of Mandalore. Then we go to chapter 19, The Convert. Then we go to chapter 20, The Foundling. Chapter 21, The Pirate. Chapter 22, Guns for Hire. Chapter 23, The Spies. And chapter 24, The Return. So those are our 8 episodes from 1 to 8, starting from chapter 17 to chapter 24. Yeah. So what do you want to talk about first, Josh?
What should we talk about first? What do you want to talk about first? Like, do we want to go episode by episode, like, or like? I don't know. What do you want to do first?
I think we'll just talk about. I think we'll just start with like stuff that we like. Some of our. I don't think we'll do it episode by episode. We'll just talk
Gotcha.
about like strong points of the season. We'll
Okay,
start
that's
off with
fine.
that. Like
Let's do
things
that.
things that like stood out for you this season. In particular, that maybe were not in other seasons, or just like maybe that were, but just like they, you know, improved upon this season, or just something that they brought back. Like for me, I could tell you that one of the strong things for me this season, yeah, highlights and low points. Exactly. That's what we're gonna do first. So for me, one of the things that I really enjoyed that they did this season was that they elevated certain characters from season 2 that were basically like cameos in the second season, that were like actually full characters this time around. And one of them for me in particular was Axe Woves.
Yes,
They
I agree with this.
really like made him more of a character this time around, because in the last season he was only in 1 episode, I believe. He was only in the Heiress, which was season 2, episode 3, chapter 11. Him, Bo-Katan, and Casca Reeves all appeared in that first episode for the first time in The Mandalorian. And it was like the big point was, oh my god, Bo-Katan's back and she's in live action at that point. And then both Casca and Axe are like her 2 like homies on the side that were like, yeah, I got backup, but they didn't really have much to do other than that. And then at the end of season 2, the rescue, Casca was around, but Axe wasn't. So it's like, well, what the hell is he up to? And we never knew what was going on with that. But then they came back in this season and they really like, he's like head of the fleet. He's got the light cruiser and he's kind of leading all these Mandalorian privateers, and he's got Costco with him and everybody's following him basically.
Yeah.
So seeing him be more of a character this time around was great, because
And a leader. Like before, he's just kind of a follower, but in this season, he got to be a leader for a little while. And even, I feel like he's a leader even after what happens. You know, like
for sure,
for sure.
Yeah, so he's one of the ones that I really enjoyed seeing, as a positive for this season. Casca as well. His delivery for Mandalore at the end, and then the finale was great. Just his whole enthusiasm, like even like we're gonna from this point on we're gonna talk spoilers. So if you're here, we assume that you've seen the entire season. Which if you haven't, what the fuck are you doing here? Come on. But like from his squabble with Paz, like they're playing like chess or whatever, right? And then like they get angry at each other and they start going at it. And then like after that, when the barge is getting destroyed by that giant creature, and both the 2 dudes that were fighting, Paz and Axe, lift Grogu out of there to safety. Like they worked it, like they were just fighting a minute ago, and now they're working together to save the baby Grogu, man. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
that's it's amazing. And then not only that, but also back, sticking with Axe, like Bo-Katan challenged him to a fight. He fought her. He lost. He wasn't salty about it. He was like, "This is the way things are." And like when it was time in the finale, when he's like, "Bo-Katan needs our help. You guys need to go. Like go. Like you need to go. Like I'll stay here. Like everybody else get out of here." Like he's a real one, man. Axe is a real one, dude. Like
Everybody that thought Axe was gonna betray Bo-Katan could go fuck themselves, dude. I knew he wasn't going to. Like, come on. Like, come on. That would have been too easy. Everybody's like, I don't trust Axe. Man, he was so cool. He earned a place on my Black Series shelf. Okay? I just gotta get one. I'm looking at it right now on Amazon. I'm looking at it right now. I'm like, I gotta have an Axe now. Because he's so cool this season. And honestly, he's not even like... He's in the latter half of the season too, is the thing. And it's like, he makes such an impression in the latter half. I'm like, this dude is fucking cool. Yeah. I'm glad, like, much like you said, that he got like a much bigger role this season. Like, because I'll be honest, in the when we first meet him, it's just that one episode in season 2. I'm like, who's this dude? And he does pretty much nothing other than like they fight like on that ship, and then that's it. You never see him again.
Yeah, he does cool Mandalorian shit, and it's like, all right, that guy was cool, but I wish he was around more,
Mm-hmm. But this season, man, stabbed up like hardcore. You're right. Like that's really cool.
Yeah, and like Casca still didn't get to do a whole lot either, but she still had something. She was still. I'm glad she was still around, especially when Sasha Banks was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna be in the next season,
She's working.
Yeah. So yeah, that I enjoyed. Another thing I really enjoyed, speaking of continuing with character growth and stuff, the armor. Like, again, another character that people thought was gonna be a traitor. Like, she went from being a character that was like, if you don't have your helmet on all the time, fuck you, to somebody that's like, all right, Bo-Katan, I realize that I'm set in my ways, and you are set in yours. We come from two different clans. You are somebody who, is a good leader and can lead us back to our former glory. And I know now this is true because you claim to have seen a mythosaur. So what better a sign is that than it to be you, the one that leads us back, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she went from being like a cultist, like, again, like if you don't have your helmet on, like, fuck you kind of person, to being like, all right, let's try and coexist and retake Mandalore and work together. She, much like Bo-Katan, realized that we need to work together and not, stay apart, because Bo-Katan says it, man, the greatest threat to Mandalore is Mandalorians themselves, because they're always fighting each other.
It's true.
And we know historically Mandalorians ain't to be trifled with. They can go head to head, toe to toe with Jedi and Sith, and they're just badasses, man. They're some of the greatest warriors of all time. So if when they're working together, they're damn near unstoppable. When they're separated, obviously we've seen the outcome of what that could be. So yeah, and yeah, Emily Swallow is fantastic. We never get to see her face in the show, but just like seeing her interviews and like seeing, like, she recently went to like a con, like um in like full costume, like in the crowd of people, they didn't know it was her and stuff. Like she's great. Emily's great. Emily's awesome. And then obviously want to give another shout out to Tate Fletcher, who portrayed Paz Vizsla in the show as well. He absolutely killed it. He did a fantastic job. Being the biggest Mandalorian around, the biggest, baddest Mando around. And yeah, I mean, fuck, Paz Vizsla, dude, another character that
Had a lot of growth.
yeah, I mean, really, like, he went from like in Book of Boba and previous seasons of Mandalorian being a guy that um was somebody that kind of was always butting heads with Din Djarin, to them being the dude in who was like, you know what? I've had my differences with this man, but he saved my son, and we gotta help him out. Remember when in the or the pirate episode when they're trying to go help Grief and Navarro and yeah, it's like another character that it's a shame we never got to see without his helmet, but um what a cool guy, man. He goes out like such a badass too. Like
Uh-huh.
it's that badass moment whenever you play like a like a art role playing game or like a video game or anything. Like if you're gonna have your character die, you want him to go out like Paz does, man, because that's a badass way to go, dude. Like you take out an army of soldiers and troops, and the only way they can take you down is to bring out 3 Jedi level threats to take you
Mm-hmm.
out. It's like that's the way to do it, man. That's the way. So, as he said, this is the way, man. And he did a fantastic job. And yeah, and like I said, Tate Fletcher, the dude under the suit, was great, and the character was awesome. I'm very curious to see how Ragnar is affected by this. I mean, we didn't really get to see a whole lot like at the end of the season because
So that's a thing.
he
But when we
basically
talk
got
about the future, DT, I want to mention him again.
okay.
So don't let me
Yeah,
forget.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's interesting because like at the end of the season, we started the season with Raptar's baptism basically, and then we
Mhm.
end it with his baptism again because he didn't get to finish it because they love living on planets with a bunch of giant creatures,
Right?
uh, and they keep getting interrupted. Um, but yeah, speaking of giant creatures, we got to see the fucking Mythosaur for the first time in live action.
Yes, which is
That is a
crazy.
huge thing this season that I think like is not. I don't know, like we didn't get to see the whole Mythosaur in its full glory, which I was
Mhm.
hoping for. Maybe we'd see in the finale after it being teased in the second episode. But like, I don't know, maybe eventually we will. But I think it's just cool that like there it is. It's alive. Like there hasn't been one alive and around for years, right? So I think that's still crazy and awesome that it's a thing. Like, you know, like a Mythosaur is still here. Like that's nuts.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, there's a lot of really cool things, man, that I could keep going on about. Like, I mean, another thing really quickly is we got to see fucking Zeb Aurelios in live action, dude, which he looks so good too, man. It makes me so much more excited for Ahsoka now that we know we're getting the Rebels characters in that, and we got to see him for the first, and he looks so good, dude. And Steve Blum did like mocap and voice work again for him, and
Yeah.
like as soon as he started talking, I knew it was Zeb. Because
Yeah.
when you see the character at first, you're like, it's definitely a Lasat, but that doesn't mean it has to be Zeb. But then when he opened up his mouth and started talking, nah, dude,
Mhm.
Steve Blum's voice is recognizable immediately. Like I know that man's voice. I've heard it too much. It's way too recognizable. Um, because like he's wearing a blue flight suit, and you're like, well, Zeb didn't really wear that, but since he starts talking, like I said, man, you know it's him. So that was really cool. A Delphi bass was cool. I mean, the music that plays for a Delphi bass, a Delphi jukebox on the soundtrack, very good, very enjoyable. I love like Star Wars alien music like that. It's great. Um, what else am I? I'm trying to think of other things that I liked from the season. Oh, the Foundling episode was, dude, seeing more of the Order 66 flashbacks and the temple and everything.
Yes.
Like when they showed us, like that was in the trailer, obviously. That's that like scene there that we knew we were getting more of that. But when they were in the temple and we see Grogu being defended by all these Jedi, um, when they mentioned get him to Keller, and I was like, no, No way, dude. Because I watched Jedi Temple Challenge, which is the like kids kind of what was that Nickelodeon show? Temple of the whatever. I forget the name of it.
I forget what it's called too, but I know what you're talking about.
Legends of the Hidden Temple or something like that.
That's it.
The Nickelodeon show from the 90s. It's basically that, but a Star Wars version of it called Jedi Temple Challenge. Came out in 2020 on YouTube, and Ahmed Best portrayed this character called Kelleran Beck. And bro, the fact that they brought that character from that show into like this show for the purpose of him being the one to save Grogu, amazing. I'm glad that Ahmed Best got to do that. It
Yeah.
was cool seeing just that whole that whole scene. I was in awe. Like I think I rewatched that like 3 times after like I watched the episode. Like it was amazing. I can't, that was like to me the most rewatchable moment of the season. Cause I just love that. I think like I just rewatched the shit out of that like right after it happened. So definitely I think the most watched scene I saw this entire season. And so cool, man. Like such a cool thing. And again, just seeing Coruscant during Operation Nightfall, and you know, just that story's not even finished either, because somehow Grogu has to go from being with Kelleran Beck to our Arvala 7, you know. So there's still a story to tell there. We're still gonna get more flashbacks. But man, we got to see him escape Coruscant, and that to me was amazing. Like the gunships and the V-wings and the bark speeders and the shock troopers and the 50, like everything 501st, like it was so good. Love that. Yeah, I think I would say that like every episode this season had like a pretty good amount of world building. I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel like every episode had like something that was pretty cool. Even some of my least favorite episodes had like really cool world building in them.
Yeah.
Like I have something positive to say about literally every episode. I mean, every episode may not be my favorite, but I feel like every episode has something that's really cool that adds to Star Wars, that world builds, that I'm like, that is awesome. They did that, you know?
Yeah. No, so far I agree with everything you said. So, that's why I'm not talking a lot. Like,
well, hey,
BT's
man,
laying it out, and I agree. You know, like I mean, yeah, go. I agree with that.
Yeah, go for it, man. I've been talking a lot, so you go ahead and then speak on some other stuff. You know.
Well, I like a lot of what you said, obviously. But the things I like are like the things that are like I don't want to say deep cuts, but it's maybe not the most exciting parts, like the episode with Dr. Pershing. I know everybody has issues maybe with that episode, and I don't think it's the best, but I really do like here's how they're handling reintegration and recruiting these old Imperials into the new Republic. And it's interesting to also see the New Republic be kind of fucking stupid at times, because they definitely start making a lot of
for sure
mistakes.
You get to see like the New Republic is not as good as you think it is, you know?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that they include that in there. I know that's not like a hot episode, but like I think I told DT this. I would have put that at like I would put that as episode 1. I know people are gonna be like, what? Why would you do that? I would have cut that episode like in half and put the Pershing stuff in the first half of the episode 1, and then we don't bring Mando into like halfway through that second episode. That is episode 1, you know, like that same way that happens in that first episode. I would have done that a little. I feel like because then you get that kind of out of the way, and then at the end, but I could also see like issues with that, because people would be like, man, where's Mando at, you know? But I think it would have been interesting to do it that way. I think it would have been easier to digest personally, but I don't know. It's still like cool to see it, like to see we're on Coruscant, you know. Here's all these former Imperials, and they're just kind of, most of them are kind of happy to for everything to be over with and to try to reintegrate into society. And I don't know. For me as a world builder, that somebody likes lore and all that stuff, like, that gave us a lot to work with because we were just starting Blasters and Bandits right around that episode, you know, like.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like, again, that episode also is not my favorite, but and my issue with it is that it's super long and it's like kind of detracts from everything else. But I do appreciate like the Coruscant world building of how Coruscant is in the New Republic era and just how stupid the New Republic is, you know, because eventually we know, like unfortunately we know where the New Republic ends. So they have to get to that point. And yeah, it's just really nice seeing like this is how the new, because like even up like still we haven't gotten a whole lot on the New Republic, right? But it's cool seeing like this is how they operate, this is what's going on. Yeah, they're stupid as shit, but this is just how they are, right?
Yeah.
Like even Carson Teva's like frustrated with all that.
Yeah. Like it's always the bureaucrats, right? Like the boots on the ground, the soldiers, the pilots, like Carson, that are out there in that sea. Like they know, like the New Republic is being really stupid right now because they're the ones making the decisions. They're back safe at home. They're not out there seeing what's going on, right? Like, and if you don't trust your guys that are out there that do see, then you get exactly what the New Republic is getting right now, which is them being ignorant, them being like, this war's over, we're reintegrating. Like it's like, come on, no, it's not. You know how you are in a vast galaxy. You think you could stamp out something as large as the Empire? Why? Because you fight a few battles and whoop their ass a few times. You think you stamped it out completely? Nah, dog. You're being arrogant. You're doing the exact same thing again. Come on. But that is what it is.
Yeah.
Another thing
again,
yep, sorry.
No, just again, just to recap that, like all the like even just like going around Coruscant, like going to like the highest peak and like getting the photon fizzles that they were eating, like stuff like that is even just cool additions to like adding into Coruscant and just the New Republic and all that. So yeah. Anyway, go ahead.
I was just gonna say another thing I like just about the season as a whole is just the closer view on the Mandalorians as a whole, as a unit. Like, because obviously in the previous seasons we're always with Din and Grogu for the most part, and this season is like we're seeing like a wider view of like we're seeing the foundlings train, we're seeing the Mandos train, we're seeing them, we're seeing all of their mixed armor, we're seeing how they interact with each other, we're seeing how they interact with Bo when she comes back after being in the water and she's kind of accepted into the clan kind of, and they're welcoming her like immediately, and it's like you can even though she's got her helmet on, you can see in her body language that it offers her some comfort to be accepted by a group again, right? Another thing I really like this season is we got R5. We got a legit droid rolling around from like the old days, man.
Yeah, dude. That one is that's something I forgot to mention when we're talking about characters with growth, like axe and armor. Like dude, R5 goes from being the droid basically in A New Hope that has a bad motivator that like they give up on in favor of R2 to like completely being an actual like character that is like doing stuff. Like in the finale, he has a big part.
He fucking rats out the Mando's location.
Oh yeah, to Carson, yeah.
I was like, that's so funny. It's like, there's somebody here, surf with you. Yeah.
Somebody from my ranks is here among with you.
Oh man. And everybody was like, who was it? I watched reactions for that episode, and everybody's like, who was it? Is it Bo-Katan? What's going on? And then R5 comes rolling out. And he's like, thanks, R5. Oh, I love that part so much.
Yeah, that part's great. I love that.
What else? I know a lot of people didn't really like the Plaisir stuff. Like some people had issues with that
Oh,
episode.
Guns for
But
Hire, yeah.
I liked the little buddy cop thing that was going on. I thought it was fun, you know, like.
So for that episode, for me, I also really like the
Droid
world building.
Barn.
I think Plaisir is a cool looking planet. It basically reminds me of like Space Epcot, you know, like Florida.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what it is. But like even the like just going around and uh like going to the droid bar and like seeing these old battle droids being like, how would battle droids from like 2 wars ago be in a society where everybody relies on droids? You know what I mean? Which this episode had a lot of cameos too. Like we had obviously Jack Black and Lizzo. Dude, one of the biggest surprises to me was the fact that fucking Christopher Lloyd was a Count Dooku fanboy, bro. I was like, what? I was like, this man mentioned Count Dooku by name. He name dropped Count Dooku. Like this man was around. He was probably a separatist, dude. Like during the Clone Wars and shit, dude. It's like that is insane, bro. And then all the while we get to see like, you know, the good, like you said, the good cop, bad cop between Din and Bo-Katan, and just like she's giving him shit for like, you know, fucking with the droids too much and like
He straight up football tackles a fucking droid through a window, dude.
a B2, he like trucks a B2 battle droid out of a fucking
I was
window.
like, God damn, son. I like that episode.
Yeah, it may not be like my favorite, but I don't know. It's like I said, there are things that I enjoy from it, and some of that stuff I do enjoy. Yeah,
I think it's in a bad spot. I think you get kind of hyped up for what's coming next, and then you get this kind of slowed down mini adventure that kind of happens, and then back toward the end of that episode, we get the fight with Axe and Bo, and that shit's exciting, right? We're back on track. So I think it suffers from like it's just kind of in a bad spot, but I don't know where else to put it because like, yeah. So the other thing is that I really do like Majin saying in the chat. I really do like the mutual respect and getting to know each other that Din and Bo have over the course of this season. That's like. You see it from like the early episodes to the end. Like they go from like casual acquaintances to really good friends. Like it feels like in some ways. So I know a lot of people are like shipping them. I don't think it's a shipping thing. I just think they have I just think they understand each other really well. Like you ever have like really good friends that just kind of get you on another level that some people maybe don't like truly do understand you. I've had a few of those in my life. I don't think it's like a romantic interest in any way. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. But it definitely to me feels like just there's a very much like they understand each other. They've come to understand each other over the course of this season, and there's a very, very strong mutual respect between the characters.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are thinking that way because like she's basically like one of the 3 main characters this season.
Mm-hmm.
And well, the 3 main characters to me this season are Din, Grogu, and Bo-Katan. And she's around a lot of the story this season. She's like each season we have like Din and Grogu are like the main characters, but like in season 2, Boba was a big character, right? He was a big focus of the story. Season 3, Bo-Katan's a big character. So like she's the one this time around, and like we knew that we were heading towards restoring Mandalore and reclaiming it and all that. So we I mean, it makes sense that she would be a big character, right? And the whole dark saber stuff comes into play, and you know, it's crazy how at the beginning of the season we start out with Din having it again, and he never really wanted it to begin with.
Yeah, he never fucking wanted it. Anyway,
so to me, it's always interesting seeing people being like, oh man, why why does he still suck with this thing, and why does he like he gave it away too much, or he didn't use it that much. It's like, I mean, every time he used it, like, yeah, it was cool. Like, I would have liked to have seen him use it more too. But like, every time he used it, he struggled with that shit so bad, dude. Like, I think in the second episode, Minds of Mandalore, before he gets captured by the eyeball droid thing, he he's still swinging it heavy as fuck, and like he like stabs a couple dudes, and like, I mean, he has trouble using it. Like, he has trouble swinging it. The second Bo-Katan picks it up, like nothing, dude, swinging it around. And obviously, we've seen her use it before, so we know she can use it. She's used it. She was obviously the better choice between the two to have it. So I don't understand people being like, having those criticisms or complaints.
I think it comes from him losing the spear too in the previous Book of Boba. I think kind of comes into where it kind of starts to feel a little bit like, well, they're taking all the cool stuff from Din, but I don't get that, because he's a Mando. He already has a bunch of cool stuff, like, and he didn't. And I don't have issues with him giving up the Darksaber because he didn't want it anyway. So to begin with, I was kind of bummed when they took away the spear, because I like the spear. I thought the spear was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was bummed out when they took away his rifle, bro. His fucking in season 2. Remember
that's the other thing. That gun's
his
gone.
disintegrator rifle. He's lost the Razor Crest, the rifle, the spear, the Darksaber. Fucking. Here's another thing. At the end of the finale, or actually no, in the 7th episode, when he gets captured, they strip his gear away. Right? They take his weapons and his jetpack. Is that gone? Does he have that again? I don't remember if he had it again at the end of the episode.
I don't remember
the finale. But he lost some of that stuff, because I remember he was using some of the Beskar troopers weapons.
But you know what that episode proved to me? He doesn't fucking need any of that shit. He's just throwing hands. And like the whole way fight scene that happens at the end, he's killing these dudes and taking their shit. He doesn't need anything. Which is kind of funny. It's like the only thing that held him back was his weapons, apparently. And I don't hate that. I thought it was cool, him whooping ass and taking guns and shit. But it is kind of funny that it's like he keeps losing all this stuff, and it's like the stuff is like what's holding him back. He's just throwing hands, throwing legs, throwing kicks. Like, he's just whooping ass barehanded.
Yeah. He's a very versatile fighter, man. You can just pick up a weapon and be like, I can use this.
He is the fucking weapon. Like, you
yeah,
know,
straight
like,
up. I mean, honestly, that's how I mind how every Mandalorian is. Like,
right?
Every Mandalorian is like skilled to a point where they can just like pick up anything and be like, I can whoop your ass with this.
Right? All the weapon is an extension of what you already are.
Like the Mandalorian is the weapon, and anything else that they have is just, added to that. But yeah.
Plus, but one other thing I wanted to add on that is, like, everybody always talks about what he's losing, but remember, he has gained the most important thing you could ever gain: a force-sensitive little green baby that hangs out with him all the time and has force powers. Nobody ever talks about that. That's like having a cheat code with you sometimes.
I mean, and people are gonna be like, well, what do you mean? He was already with him. Here's the thing. Like, he was, up until this point, we had been trying to get him to Luke, or get him to his people, or get him to somewhere, right? Now, this is his son. He's adopted him. Like, they're gonna be like, when I first watched the finale, I was kind of not as strong on it, because I'm like, they kind of wrapped up everything super nicely, and like, I don't know, it was like, it wasn't as a bombastic of an ending as, like, I think, in my opinion, season 1 or season 2, but like, they don't all need to be that way, Like, when I first watched, I was a little bit like, kind of not as, I wasn't as strong on the ending, but as I've rewatched it, I've rewatched the last episode a few times now, specifically, and I think like, and I even watched episode 7 and 8 now as well, like back to back, like as one episode, and I think it flows really well as one long episode. So when you look at it like that, I would recommend anybody who doesn't feel as strong on this finale, watch the last 2 episodes like back to back. Like, or even if I'm sure somebody on YouTube or somewhere has, or maybe not YouTube, but somewhere on the internet, somebody has probably merged and edited these 2 last episodes into one long supercut episode. Watch it like that. I feel like you'll change, maybe you'll have a different perspective or change your mind on it, because I certainly did. Um, I didn't hate the episode, but I just wasn't as like, I was like, oh, well, they ended it kind of a little too nicely and they wrapped it up. And like, a lot of people are like, oh, this feels more like a season finale or a series finale more instead of a season finale. And I think this is going to be a little bit of speculation on the future. I don't know if we should save it for towards the end, Josh, but or actually we'll save it
Muted,
towards
sorry.
for the future talk.
Yeah, whenever you want to talk about it, it's fine with me. So
No, we'll save
like,
it. But I have thoughts on why that is.
but I
anyway.
just wanted to add on to that. Just because you said it is like, it feels like the end of the first book, and we're gonna get a second book. So like,
Yeah.
like I wouldn't even be surprised if like
That's-
the next episode they say is like chapter 1 for the next season. Again, like it starts over, like a new book kind of deal.
So that's since we're talking about it, that's basically what I was gonna say. Is like, this feels like the end of this like grand story arc of like Din, Grogu taking him to here and there, and now he's like fully adopted him and everything. So I think this is a little bit of speculation on my behalf, is that next season we're gonna have a time jump. How big of a time jump? I don't know, but I feel like the way they wrap this season up feels like this is the end of this particular uh like like the whole Moff Gideon stuff. Like, I mean, they even set it up in the finale when Din was like, if we don't end this now, he's just gonna keep hounding us. So we gotta do it now. You gotta be brave, because we gotta take his ass out once and for all.
I think
And like
you're right.
And we did get a conclusion to a lot of things. Like, even though the Dr. Pershing episode wasn't the greatest, it was a little bit longer and all that stuff. That, when you think about it in the overall grand scheme of things, like Gideon and his clones and the threat of Gideon over the past 3 seasons, and his whole like personal agenda, plan, end game that he had been leading up to was that. And for a while there, I was thinking, well, what if Gideon survived again? Because like, he was wearing a really particularly strong suit of Beskar, which is, he called it the new, like, the newest Dark Trooper armor, right? Which is like Beskar plus like some kind of mechanized stuff that was, I mean, it was basically Mando and a Beskar and a Dark Trooper put together is that armor.
Yeah.
And he was gonna have all his clones, which are, the reason why he took the blood from Grogu and everything was because he wanted to make his own force sensitive clones. And he wanted to put them into suits, and you know, I would imagine he seemed very, Gideon, I'm talking about, seemed very like, yo, fuck Thrawn. He's not even here, dude. Like, why are we talking about this bozo? He's not even here, man. Like, I'm here. We're here. We need to stop talking about that dude. Until he comes back, I don't want to hear nothing about him. Like, he seemed to me like he didn't give a fuck about Project Necrom. Like, he even said to Hux, he's like, you're the one concerned about clones, not me, when obviously he was lying. But like, what I think he meant by that is he doesn't give a shit about Palpatine and the whole like bringing back all these guys from either like Palpatine from the dead or Thrawn from wherever the hell he is, right? He's like, we're here. We need to focus on what we have right now. Like, we need a change in leadership, and that change in leadership is going to be me. So I feel like he was trying to set up like him being like the new emperor, or the big guy in charge, right? Basically, because he like didn't really give a shit about any of the other stuff. So I feel like the threat of that and everything is, I feel like it's over now, because while I'm kind of a little bit disappointed with Moff Gideon in the fact that here's my big disappointment with Moff Gideon. Giancarlo is a fantastic actor, right? We all know this. We've seen him in many things. But my issue with the character of Moff Gideon is that they always save his character for the fucking end, dude.
Yeah.
Why don't they introduce him earlier in the season? Why is he always in the finale, dude? Like he always appears in like the last 2 episodes of each season. It's like we the whole thing of like him escaping the New Republic yeah, baby agrees. But like the whole like him escaping the Lambda shuttle and being rescued by the Beskar troopers and everything, like how long was that for? Like I don't know, man. Like some of the stuff with Moff Gideon kind of is like it annoys me because I wish they would have shown him more instead of being like the guy they save for the finale each season. That's one thing is that kind of annoys me with that character. Like if he's truly dead, like here's the thing, I could see them bringing him back, but at the same time, it's like doesn't that kind of undermine everything we've done already up until this point? So I'm like really conflicted about his character because I wish we would have seen more of him, but at the same time, I think it would be a mistake to bring him back after killing him, you know? So I'm a little conflicted in that because again, I wish they would have shown him more, but they also kind of essentially killed him off now, so they can't really do nothing with that unless they somehow were like he had really cool Beskar armor and he survived the fire and you know he's still around. But at the same time, the other argument with that is like Grogu had to put a force bubble around Bo-Katan and Din for them to survive. So I don't know. It's I'm a little conflicted on Moff Gideon, but I wish they would have shown him more. But that's kind of my thoughts on that.
I agree with you. Like he had to be cooked in that fucking armor, right? Like how heat resistant is it? You know?
Yeah. So it's like I would have liked for him to have been around more, and I would have liked to have seen him do more. But like at this point, it's like just keep him dead, man. Like, and then here's the other thing: people are gonna be like, "Oh, he made clones. Maybe the guy that burned was just another clone, and he's back. He'll be back somewhere." And they, I feel like they did that shit on purpose, man, just to be like he could still be alive, and he still, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that it's like really,
that's
man,
a little
like,
bit of that's a cop out. They do that.
it is. It's like
It's
come
like
on,
when do
dude.
stakes matter? You know, like when do they matter?
Yeah. Which speaking of stakes, it mattered with fucking Paz, man.
Yeah.
That was great.
And since you already talked about your time jump, one of the things I was gonna say on that was like, I agree with you that I think there's gonna be a time jump, and I wouldn't even be surprised if we like, they really spent a lot of time building up, not a lot of time, but a decent amount of time with like the character of Ragnar Vizsla, right? So they're like, here's this kid, he gets kidnapped by the big giant thing, and we save him, and that wins Paz over. And then like he's kind of training with Grogu at one point, and then Paz makes the ultimate sacrifice. Like I feel like if they do a time jump, that character will age up a bit, and they will focus on him maybe a little bit more, you know. And I wouldn't even be surprised if like, you know, if him and Axe are like homies, you know, like maybe Axe is training him. Maybe him and Grogu are homies. Like there's so much you could do with a little time jump right there that it's like, if they don't do that, I'm gonna be disappointed that you had such a good like feel on a time jump right here and it doesn't happen. I'll be so disappointed that they didn't do it if it doesn't.
it just makes a lot of sense with the way they wrapped everything up so nicely and tidy and stuff. It's like, all right, Moff Gideon's out of the picture. They reclaim Mand, and also another reason for this is because I would love to see what Mandalore looks like after the Mandalorians have been there for a while. You know, like it just makes sense for them to do a time jump here, in many ways. And then like you know, Din's gonna be working for the New Republic now for a little bit, you know, so that'll be interesting to see how that goes. And it just feels right for me for them to make a time jump, you know, because it just the way everything was wrapped up. So yeah.
So yeah, like I want the time jump to happen. I'm gonna be sad if it don't happen a little bit, because I was like, man, there's so much that would have been cool.
Especially because like the first 3 seasons have been all taking place in this within the same year. Like
Mhm.
all of this has been like consecutive, like back to back to back to back. There has been no time jumps at all. Um, so I feel like this would be a good place for a bit of a time jump for them to do story
I
wise.
agree. I agree with you completely. I'm like, yeah, especially the way it ends is how it feels. It just feels that way.
Yeah, again, to a lot of people it seemed like a series finale, which to me I just translate as they're ending this 3-season arc that we've been on.
Exactly.
This journey that we've been on for the past 3 seasons has all been taking place in this short amount of time. And we've been dealing with Gideon and trying to get Mandalore back and the Mandalorians reunited and now we're, you know, gonna be moving on to other things, which I assume are gonna be like Din and Grogu going on adventures again, kind of how it was in the first season, the second season. Um, but yeah, I'm like really curious about the where they go from here, you know, because obviously we know there are other shows connected. The Book of Boba Fett is also connected. Um, and Ahsoka's gonna be connected. Um, but yeah, that's yeah. I mean, I like the season. I enjoyed it. I do have some criticisms here and there, which we'll get to here in a minute. Well, we can get to that. We can get to the maybe negatives or criticisms or not so positive stuff. If you have nothing else to say about positive
No,
wise,
we can move on. Let's move on to like some of the things maybe we didn't like about the season. Then.
okay. So I will go ahead and start off with one big one that I think has to do with Book of Boba Fett and this and mine is I really wish that they hadn't reunited Grogu and Din and gave him his N1 in the Book of Boba Fett. I really wish they would have done it this season.
Hmm.
Because not only would it have been more time in real life, but I guess also in universe too. Um, although I suppose him getting this, I mean, if anything, the ship is more of a minor thing. I think the reuniting is something that I wish
Mm-hmm.
would have taken longer because it just feels like it would have fit better here and it would have like some of the criticisms we have about some of these other episodes if we had gotten that instead of imagine if we had gotten that like some of the Book of Boba Fett stuff this season instead of some of the other stuff like it would have been so much better of a season I feel like but I guess that's something that is a a thing that I can't really complain about because like we already like it's not a part of the season at all. It's just something I wish that would have happened. But um yeah. In terms of like the actual season, I think that my right off the bat, I really enjoyed the first 2 episodes. But then going into that super long ass third episode that has like basically nothing to do. Well, I mean not nothing to do, but like here's a bit of Mando and Bo-Katan at the beginning, long ass episode of Pershing and Kane, then back to Din and Bo-Katan at the end.
It's
Um,
like a compliment shit sandwich. Here's something good. Here's a little bit of shit. Here's some more good. You know. Although I don't think it's fair to be like this is shit.
I don't think
It's a
I
little
don't think
bit
it's
more.
shit. It's just
but it's just not as exciting. You know?
it's not even that. It's just the fact that like it took too long. Like it was too long. Like it's the longest episode of the season, and this is what you put it for. Like I don't know. I don't think it needed to be as long as it did. Like some of that stuff, I feel like you didn't need to go out and show and talk about. Like I don't know about you, but I feel like for me at least, I knew that Elia Kane was not gonna be a goody two shoes all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like you could know that she was still up to some shady shit. So for them to be like, "Oh, she's good now. We're trying to prove to you that she's good now," for an hour, and then like at the end she betrays them, and like basically, I mean, I don't know if he's dead or not by the end of that episode, but his brain is probably dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of we knew where we were going basically if you're paying attention, but you just decided to get there by going through a lot of time that I didn't feel was necessarily what you needed to do there. Um so yeah, I don't know. It's kind of again, I said in the stuff that I did like that I really like the world building and the New Republic stuff and all that was cool, but I feel like it took too much time. Like we didn't if they cut it a little bit more would have been better, and maybe like don't do a Book of Boba Fett and not like put the main character in his own show for like 5 minutes total screen time. That would have been nice. So that's probably my like one of my bigger complaints episode wise is that one. It's not that I didn't like it again. It's just I don't know. I'm really like conflicted with that because it's like I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. Like
Mm.
they just I don't know. Again, all I can say is they really should have just cut it and like not focused on the uh you know a character that we knew was gonna be bad and acting like oh they've actually changed.
Yeah.
But
I think one of my
yeah.
criticisms, if I can fit in here, because I think it kind of has to do with yours a little bit.
I mean, yeah,
is
go
like
for it.
is like in the first season and second season, we have this like lens, right? We got this lens kind of like this, like how I got my hands, right? And it's really focused on these two things that are happening. This season suffers from an expanding lens, right? It's like it's bigger. And the thing that happens when you zoom out and get bigger is things get lost in the details a little bit. So, like, I think, and it's a criticism, yes, but I don't think it's a giant knock either. It's just like, I like how that those first couple seasons were really tight, really well managed, really well. The whole deal is just a tight story that they tell, and then this story in season 3 just got bigger, and that is both a good and sometimes a bad thing. Like we got a lot of good from it, but we also got like a lot of bad from it, and so not a lot of bad, but we got some bad from it that we might not normally have gotten if it was more focused. And I lost what I was fixing to say. So we got like the cool part, which is like here's a bigger focus on the Mandos, and here's Bo-Katan coming in to and being like a co-lead of the season or of the series for this season, and that's all cool. But we also kind of have to build up. We got to make room for this other stuff that's going on. We want to fit in like here's what the New Republic's gonna having issues, and this is why they're kind of not going to respond to this Moff Gideon threat. So we got to build that in an episode a little bit, and we build some of that in that season with in that episode with Dr. Pershing, episode 3, and so I think it's just like a suffering of just having a bigger scope as a whole.
Yeah.
So they that episode feels like I don't know. It almost feels like you could cut it out in some ways, but I wouldn't want to because I like it. But
that's what I've been
saying.
Parts
of it.
Like, there, like I like the world building and that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool. But I guess it is a slippery slope, right? Because like you try to like the overall scheme of things is in here too, but like you suffer from being like focusing on the mains. I don't know. It's really hard, man. But I feel like personally, I feel like there is some stuff in there that you could cut. Like, I think when you're meeting, like off the top of my head, when Pershing after Pershing is done with his whole speech at the Opera House, and he goes to like the apartment buildings for all the people who have like all the former Imperials or whatever. And there's like a table of people sitting down, and they're all like blah 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 blah. Like you could have cut that out. I didn't need that. Like
yeah,
I don't need to hear from these guys. Like
you could cut it, but Yeah, but the thing I like. No, you go ahead. You continue, and then I'll
was
add
saying-
something onto that.
I was just gonna say the only thing that scene is for really is like to introduce that Elia Kane is also in the same like housing structure
Oh,
that
you're talking about that
he
part.
is
I
in,
got you.
and it's like, well, you could have just done that another way. I didn't need to hear all these other dudes be like talk
What'd you
about
like? What'd you miss?
What do you miss from the cookie biscuits and the fucking whatever the fuck, like who cares, dude? Like I don't know. I didn't really need to see all that. Like, so for
I
me
got you.
there are parts like that I didn't really need. But yeah, I don't know. It's
I thought you were
Yeah.
talking about the part where they're at the opera house and then he talks to the dudes and the like higher up people.
Oh, no,
I
no,
thought
no,
you were
I
talking
like
about that
that.
part
No,
because
no,
that
no, I
part was
like
cool
that.
to me.
No,
I was
I
like,
like
Daniel
that.
didn't like that part. I thought that part was neat.
No. That part I did like. I see what you mean because how I worded it, but no, I mean like after he takes the taxi with the droid and goes to
Yeah,
the
yeah,
housing
okay,
build
yeah, I got you now.
department,
I got you. Yeah, I know. I'm picking up what you got now because I'm the same way as you. I feel like you could have trimmed that out. You may not necessarily have to cut it, but you could definitely trim it down a bit.
It's just, that part just seemed kind of unnecessary. Like, yeah, it mentioned the fact that he likes the cookies, which is how she wins his trust over or whatever. But you could have done that another way. That I don't really give. Like, I don't. Who are these other
Here,
guys that
Daniel, you
don't
want a
even
cookie?
appear
Do
in
you
the
trust me
episode?
more now? Let's go.
Yeah, dude.
You
But
know?
is it a yellow imperial biscuit cookie though?
I don't know. It's a little. I don't know. Far fetched. A little. It's a little weird, I guess. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that part. No, I like the part where he's talking to like the pompous ass, like
Yeah, and they're like
Coruscant-y
whichever, and they're
fucking-
so.
He's like, oh, the Empire, the Republic, the
like,
rebels
whatever.
means nothing to me. It's the same.
Right?
Can you imagine me serving? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like fuck. Like shut up, man.
See, yeah.
So yeah, stuff like that is what I would have been like okay with them you're not including in the episode. And then yeah, what else? I'm trying to think what other like maybe negatives or not some positives. I mean, I think another negative for me this season is just the episodes are too short, man.
Oh, yeah.
Too damn short. And again, they made the longest one. I'll be honest with you, the convert was my least favorite. And the reason why this might be a bit of a contradiction, but because it's too long, I just wish they would spread the wealth to some of the other episodes. Like instead of making that one long ass episode, fucking sprinkle in some time into the other episodes a little bit here and there. Make them all more kind of the same length instead of being like, here's one that's an hour long, and here's one that's half an hour, and here's one that's 40 whatever minutes. And I just wish the times were more consistent. I know I was listening to interviews. I was listening to a Dave Filoni interview, and he's like, "Yeah, we kind of like to do it a little bit more like quick and like what is like necessary and whatever and stuff to kind of fit the action and everything." But I'm like, man, I just like that makes sense. But at the same time, it's like I feel like you could. Some of these episodes feel like they're a little what's the word? They're a little sped up, like they're rushed. Like we have to get through these things within like a certain amount of time, it feels like,
Mm.
Whereas like I felt like in the third episode, it's like here's a super long episode that I feel like could have been shortened. So yeah, and then yeah, Majin brings up another thing that like we didn't get another. This is the first season we don't get a helmetless Din Djarin, so we don't get to see Pedro actually. Because I mean, I'm sure people know this by now, but a lot of the time Pedro is not even the one behind the suit. It's Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder. Like those, if you're talking about the Mandalorian, I think those guys are more of the Mandalorian than Pedro is. Like if we're being real, because all Pedro does is the voice, really, and sometimes they bring him in to show up, put him in the suit, but most of the time it's Brendan Wayne and Lateef Crowder. So, yeah, I would imagine that they didn't make him take off his helmet this season because he was busy filming other stuff, maybe.
Yeah,
Like
Pedro's
The
a
Last
very
of Us and all. He's a very busy guy.
Busy
so
guy.
I would imagine that's probably why they didn't make him take off his helmet. Because I mean, if they wanted to, they probably could have, you know, found some other stupid reason to make him take off the helmet. But
I know he said in the past he would really like to be in the suit more.
yeah, because I mean, like I said, a lot of the time he's really not in it. Like he does voiceover mainly. So yeah, I think it'd be cool to have him in the suit more, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, how often is he gonna take off his helmet? You know, really depends. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other things. What else? What else? What else? I mean, I don't really have too much that I dislike. It's just like there are some things that I don't really feel as strongly about, particularly episodes 3 and 6. Those are probably the two weakest ones for me.
Yeah. I don't even
Um,
disagree. I think those are, like, if it comes to me, I think I'm the same. And I think the issue with 6, if I can just jump in here on something that I think is too much, is like,
Yeah, go for it.
they have 3 cameos in one episode, and that is a lot, and it really does kind of take you out of it a little bit. Like, as much,
a little bit,
yeah, as much as I like everybody involved in it, it's like when they appear on screen, it's like, oh man, Jack Black, oh man, Lizzo, oh man, it's you know, it's Doc Brown, you know, like it's hard not to have your immersion broken, because we're in Star Wars, like, and it's like playing a game. It's like, I get it, like, these are these characters, but it's like, it's such a surprise that it kind of breaks you out of it a little bit. And it's not even like I hate the cameos. I don't hate the cameos. I just think they loaded an episode with too many. You know, like.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm fine with Jack Black being in Star Wars. I'm fine with Lizzo being in Star Wars. I'm fine with Doc Brown being a fucking separatist, you know, guy.
Separatist Count Dooku fanboy.
Yeah, like, but it's just like, it's all in this one episode.
I was expecting him to have a bigger role, Christopher Lloyd, that is, because I remember before the season aired, like when the reports broke of him being in the next season, or this season rather, there was like talks of him maybe being like a Mandalorian warlord or something, and I'm like, yo, if that's who they get him to be, that'd be sick. But then he just ended up being just, you know, the character that he was. It's like, all right, well, that's cool. I mean, he's an old ass man, so he's not gonna be doing anything crazy, and I wasn't expecting him to either. But just like, I don't know, I was just expecting him like to be something more than just like the crazy separatist dude that has like a plan that like what was even his plan, dude? Like, he was gonna turn the droids against everybody there, and then what? Like, what's your end game, dude?
I'm gonna sound like a bully and like picking on an old man here, but it's not. Some of his dialogue feels a little forced, and it's because he is an older gentleman. So I forgive it a lot for that, but man, it's really hard not to be broken out of it a little bit from that episode. And I don't even hate that episode. I just feel like it's front loaded.
Yeah,
with cameos. It's like,
yeah,
we got all these people that want to be in Mando this season. We'll throw them all in one episode. You know, like, it's like,
sure, yeah.
Respectfully to all my friends, it's like if I saw Majin sitting at a table eating a steak in Star Wars, I'd be like, I know that guy. I know him. You know, like, I know that guy. You know, or if a Mando took its helmet off and it was DT under it, I know that guy.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we would love to do that.
I mean, hey, if they want to make me a Mandalorian, bro, hit me up, bro. I will. I mean, I would love to be like an actual character, but I mean, hey, if you just want to throw me in, like, hey, man, if I look cool enough to get an action figure made after me, I'm all about it, bro. Let's make it happen, okay?
The Filoni cameos don't bother me here because he's off to the side and he's not like a main focus, whereas the others are. And obviously, I know Rick and the other directors are doing cameos too.
Peter
but like,
Ramsey,
they're off to
Deborah Chow,
yeah, they're off to the side talking. Like, they're not like a main focus, so it doesn't break me out of it.
I think the first time we saw a Delphi base, if you're not paying attention, if you're not like looking at them, you won't notice them. But I think in the finale, Dave is like so prominently there with his hat. You're like, oh, fucking Dave and his hat is there, you know. But other than that, I don't think they're like super distracting. But I do think Dave in the finale is a little distracting. Like here he is with his hat. But the
Gotcha.
previous episode, I think he was just like if you're not looking at him, then you won't notice him. But in the finale, though, I do think, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was
Um,
reading Majin's chat message.
No, yeah, I'm trying to think of other negatives. I'm like, I don't
have a whole lot, to be honest.
I don't really
like,
have a whole lot. I have more positives. Like another thing I didn't even talk about was I love the pirates this season, like Gorian Shard and like his badass Corsair like cruiser.
Yeah, the ship was
thing.
cool looking. I really wanted him to steal it.
Awesome, dude. I love the fact that we got a new cool alien. He had a cool voice. He had a cool look. He looked like fucking Swamp Thing and Davy Jones, and like I like Gorian, man. I was hoping they didn't kill him, man, because I wanted to see more of him, but they did what they did, but I really like that, and Carson was cool seeing Carson again with him like going to warn the Mandalorians about Navarro and him being the one that found Gideon's shuttle, the Beskar and stuff, and a lot of really cool stuff. Like seeing Bo-Katan with the Darksaber in live action again was pretty nuts.
The
And the shield
Anzellans.
and everything.
We got the
Anzellans, yeah, dude, the Anzellans. Oh,
no squeezy. No squeezy. They were fun to see.
The booking.
Yeah.
No fix the booking. Yeah, I love seeing them again. They're always fun. Dude, Grief Karga being such a flex master that he needed to have 2 droids carry his cape. Like
So
what
good.
a fucking guy, dude. This dude.
His outfit's so cool too.
He's a high magistrate now, not just a magistrate.
But he still got the moves.
Speaking of Navarro, I really like the look of Navarro this season. Like you can really see how much they've like upgraded it, and like how like them being there has really boosted the like just the planet in general. Like remember, it was just like lava flats and stuff before in season 1. Vane did escape.
Vane, and I thought that he was gonna go back to the pirate nation and we were gonna get like fucking him talking to Hondo or some shit. I thought that was gonna be like a post-credits thing. I was like, I bet that's what happens.
Cool,
that's what I thought was gonna happen. I thought that's what was gonna happen.
I didn't even have that I didn't even put that thought in my mind, but now that you say that, I would have loved to have seen that,
right?
man.
It's like you don't have to it won't be long. You throw it in, maybe even as like at the very end of the last episode. Bro, you don't even have to have it in the episode he disappears.
You don't even have to have show Hondo. You can just have his voice or something, man. It would be so good. Oh man, I'm upset. They didn't include that now. God damn it, gosh. Oh, it's so cool, man.
I know, right?
Damn, yeah, that was. But also, I was gonna mention about Vane, the guy who escaped. So Star Wars Celebration was a thing while this season aired, and they showed him in the footage of Skeleton Crew, so we know that Vane is going to be in that show.
That's true.
So he's going to be coming back for that, which will be interesting. Yeah. What else was I going to say? That like, I'm just trying to run through other cool stuff that happened this season, like those like flying creatures that they had to fight on the planet where they had to save Ragnar. That like gator croc turtle thing that they fought was really cool. Like when the Mandalorians are training, that was dope.
I like all the cool monsters we got this season.
Yeah, I love
creatures.
Seeing the like aerial space combat, like with Din and the N1 fighting the pirates and stuff. That was awesome, dude.
We got quite a bit of space combat, or just aerial fighting combat.
Yeah, it was like atmospheric and in space. It was awesome, dude. I loved it. It. The gauntlet doing work, and speaking of the gauntlet, dude, the TIE Interceptors and the TIE bombers blowing up Bo-Katan's home and shit, and like when they're like going after them, and then you see a swarm of TIE Interceptors flying. That's another thing. I'll give them props for it. I will give them props for using ties other than the basic ass tie.
Yeah.
I'm glad they use interceptors and bombers because I'm sick of seeing normal TIE fighters. I hope that whenever we see Thrawn, we get to see TIE defenders. Like I know in Rebels they kind of mess with that project a little bit, but I mean, come on, dude, a live action TIE defender would be sick. What else was I gonna say? I'm just trying to think of other cool stuff that happened this season. Like we already talked about R5, we talked about Carson, talked about Coruscant, Keller and Beck and the Jedi stuff. Just seeing the Mandalorians like united, like all these different types of Mandalorians, like the Children of the Watch and the Night Owls, and just everybody come together. Like you see all these different armor types and stuff.
The
and
fucking
color
ship
schemes and
drops.
stuff.
When they drop out of the fucking ships and like swarming fucking birds, bees, fucking.
That's what I was gonna say. Is when we talk about the gauntlet, them dropping out of the gauntlet. Oh my god, with the that never got old to me, man.
No, I
could
was
watch
cool every
them-
time.
I could watch even the armor fly. I could watch them fly out of the gauntlet like fucking forever, dude. Just watching them
Mhm.
drop out of that thing is the best.
Sure.
Man, I love seeing the armor and Bo-Katan go ham on those fucking.
That whole
Imperials, though.
aerial fight that happened was so sick.
We had never seen anything like that in live action up until this point, because we had only seen stuff like that in like Rebels and Clone Wars, man. So seeing that like in live action, amazing.
And I love that Dan is fighting Gideon, and you can see him in the back fighting in the swarm.
Yeah.
You know, like you can see it in the back there. Like, yeah. Axe being a hero, fucking driving the fucking starship down and all that fucking shit. I was like, please don't kill Axe. I'm so invested in this character now after everything that's happened. I was like afraid.
Yeah,
I was like, don't do the self-sacrifice play.
I didn't think he was gonna do that. I think it would have been foolish because I mean, yeah, he's got a jetpack. Like, you can fly out of there, dude. So,
You never know how they're gonna do these things.
I'm glad they did what they did because I think it would have been
Yeah.
foolish mistake to kill him off. Yeah. That whole like battle, that whole fight scene in the last 2 episodes with the Beskar Imperials and the Mandalorians, just so good, dude. Which, by the way, those designs for the Praetorians and the new Beskar Stormtrooper Imperial dudes, I can't wait to buy figures of those guys.
Yeah.
I'm already
Dude.
waiting. I'm already waiting.
Din breaks a dude's neck with his bare hands.
The combat is pretty brutal, I would say, for like
He
Star
stabs
Wars stuff.
people in the throat. He
Which I
stabs one of the
appreciate.
Praetorians in the throat with a
I love
knife.
it. I like it.
It's awesome.
That's great.
It's like it's great, but I wasn't expecting it. There's a scene where I think it's just a random Mando. I don't know if it's Casca or not. That's fighting in the air, and they get grappled, and they just pull out this wrist blade and like stab the dude. I don't know who does that. I don't know if it's just a random or if it's Casca. I know Casca does like I think she does the slide and the knee missile, right? That happens.
Yeah, she does the knee rockets. Yeah, which she does. She doesn't get to say a lot, but she does a lot of cool shit, man. Like you see her do a lot of cool stuff in battle. So yeah, that definitely is like just seeing the Mandalorians in action.
It was rando Mando. I think
And then
so
like
too.
seeing that there's at one point like this reminded me of when they were fighting the pirates. Remember that one Mando that just flies on top of a pirate ship and like takes it down and like flies off like a badass, bro? Like
Who's that guy?
That guy's cool, man. Fuck Mandalorian. So, dude, that when they're fighting the pirates too, like they just whoop those pirates asses, man.
I think that's the thing I think that's a good thing. I think it's a thing they want to show is like, yeah, Din's a badass, Bo-Katan's a badass, the armor and Paz and Axe and Casca, they're all badasses. But so are these Mandos, you don't know their names, they're badasses. Remember, they're the same, you know? They're highly trained, weaponized mercenary killers. Remember, Don't
Yeah, they
forget
should be.
that.
They should all be that badass. Like that's why I'm glad that they showed that because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like they're fucking Mandalorians. They should all be that badass. Like these pirates, like I think they did kill a couple Mandalorians, but like it wasn't until they brought out like the big guns and stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
just seeing these guys on the street normally, this is nothing, dude, for a Mandalorian. Like there was at one point a dude like brought the wrist fucking wire out and like choked the dude out or like dropped him to his knees and like shot him in his head and like the Anzellans are over there cheering and shit and it's like, man, that was just it was cool to see like the Mandalorians wreck shop on enemies that they should have wrecked, and they did, you know. And it's just it's cool because again, like not only should the main characters be badass, like no any normal Mandalorian should be badass because they're fucking that they're Mandalorians, dude. Like they should all be out there whooping ass like it's nothing, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
that is their culture. That is them. Like they should, you know. So sometimes it kind of bothers me when like they shoot one and they kind of like die easy. I'm like, well, I get that you have to have red shirts, so to speak, but it's like make a little bit more effort to kill them. Like they shouldn't be this easy to kill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
No, I
stuff like
agree.
that kind of bothers me. But like at the end of the day, whatever. But yeah, it was just. Oh, and we didn't even talk about the fucking Skinny Pete Mandalorians, dude. Like those
Yeah.
guys that were trapped on Mandalore for who knows how long with the cool looking armor. Skinny Pete had like a B2 head on his fucking shoulder pad at one point. Which I noticed, and yeah, all those guys were just. I just love the. Listen, I have always loved the look of Mandalorians, even before this show and before
Yeah,
it was
they
cool to
do.
like them. For as long as I've been a Star Wars fan, I've always loved Mandalorians. I mean, it started with Boba Fett, and then it went to Django, and then it went to fucking Canderous and Jaster and all these other guys, and here we are, man. So Mandalorians have always been cool to me. Uh, so anytime we see a new one, I'm like, man, that's awesome.
I was gonna
It's
say
also
something. I forgot though.
oh man,
You go ahead. I'll try
no,
to
just
remember.
Beskar v Beskar, man. Like just Beskar fucking each other, fucking itself up, you know.
I remembered. The dark saber got destroyed. I don't even think we've talked about that.
We haven't. I was gonna bring it up too, but yeah, I'm glad you did because yeah, yeah. So that's a huge thing this season is
Yeah,
the dark saber is gone.
yes. I was like, oh my god, it got
I
destroyed.
was not expecting that when him and
I
Bo-Katan
wasn't
were
either.
fighting. When Gideon and Bo-Katan were fighting, and he just like crushes it. It's like, you what?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've seen people be like, oh, they could just rebuild it. I'm like, I don't know, dude. Like, do you like people don't realize the history and the just how old of a lightsaber that is.
Yeah.
Like, for those of you who don't know, you haven't seen Rebels, the dark saber was created by Tar Vizsla years ago because he was the very first Mandalorian Jedi. And after Tar Vizsla died, the Jedi stored the dark saber in the Jedi Temple. But at some point in galactic history, the Mandalorians broke into the temple, stole the lightsaber, and then basically we see Pre Vizsla with it in the Clone Wars. He's the guy of the first guy we see with it, and then from him it goes to Maul, and then from Maul it goes to uh trying to remember Clone Wars and Rebels. I know Sabine has it at one point, Bo-Katan has it at one point, and then obviously we're back to Mandalorian. We're like, you know, Gideon took it from Bo-Katan, and then she had it again. But there's a lot of history to that lightsaber, and it's like, wow, they really just destroyed that. Like
Mm-hmm.
they really destroyed it. I would I would hope. I mean, I don't even know if I want to say hope, but like it would be cool if they rebuilt it, but at the same time, it's like, man, it would kind of take away from that moment if they did, you know.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm kind of. I mean, it would be hard for me to be like, man, they could just rebuild it, you know, because it's such a historic, you know, huge significance thing. But also, I kind of like story wise that it's destroyed because now they don't have to be so hung up on if you hold the dark saber, you're the ruler of Mandalore, right?
Yeah.
And this goes into the whole thing of like Bo-Katan saying, or everybody saying like, or actually it was the armor that said this, right? That the Mythosaur was gonna bring in a new dawn for Mandalore, like a start a new era,
Yeah.
you know? So I feel like with them choosing Bo-Katan as their leader, even though she did have the dark saber, she doesn't have it anymore. It's gone, but they're still sticking with her, and she's gonna be the leader to bring in the new dawn or the new age of Mandalore. And we're gonna see the Mythosaur and the Mandalorians rebuilt. They're gonna rebuild some Sudari and just all of that, right? So I kind of like it for that story reasons for that. But it's kind of a bummer because I really like the dark saber, man. It's a cool weapon,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it's like story reasons. Yeah, I think it was an interesting move to go with it that way because yeah, now people don't have to get so hung up on who wields the dark saber. Now it's like we get to choose who we want to be our leader.
Yeah. I think
Kind of deal. So
I said this in voice chat is like, I think that like the parts will end up being used. I really do think they'll end up going to Grogu, but I don't think it's going to be the dark saber anymore. I just think it'll be
yeah.
like his thing,
Mhm.
for the most part. If that even happens, who knows? I just kind of feels kind of weird to have this thing and it's destroyed and then we never see it again. Like maybe they put it in it belongs in a museum because it's such a major
Right? Put it in
thing.
once they rebuild Mandalore, they can put it in the Sundari Museum or whatever and be like, "This is remember when we were so hung up on this thing? Here it is." And
Mm-hmm.
Well, also like going back to your point of like reusing it for Grogu's lightsaber. Um I think that would be probably the best thing to do to go about it.
Mm.
Like save the parts for Grogu and then like whenever he builds a lightsaber have him, use him for that. But also like I know people are gonna complain or bring up the fact that they destroyed the Skywalker lightsaber in episode 8 and they brought it back in episode 9. And I was like, oh, like why can't they just rebuild it like that too? And it's like, well, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what they do, right? But I kind of like the idea of like, here's something from our past that we can either give to Grogu now that he's a Mandalorian, like a full like adopted by Din kind of deal, or like you said, maybe just keep it as like a ancient artifact kind of
Yeah.
dealio. So if they go either with those two routes, I think that would be cool. I'd be down for either one. Um, but yeah, um, yeah,
I think a lot of the complaints I would have had kind of got uh knocked out in the last two episodes. Like I was a little bummed that Din kept losing stuff. All the way up to the point where I realized this motherfucker don't need nothing to whoop ass, right? And anybody that's like, and not only that, him and Grogu take on 3 Praetorians, right? And not
Yeah.
only and Bo-Katan does not defeat Moff Gideon on her own. It takes all 3 of them to beat him, right? And like any complaint I would have had got like, because it would almost felt like almost too broken at times if like this one character can beat this one person that's like this super robotic suit. And I say the same thing for the Praetorians. It would have felt a little weird if after Paz's sacrifice, Din would have killed them all 3 on his own, or Grogu would have killed all 3 on his own. But them working together works better.
Yeah, which they make a point to not have it be that way because remember when what's his name Din is fighting Moff Gideon, and then like the Praetorians show up, they're whooping Din's ass. Like part of me was like, why don't they just stab him like they did with Paz? Like why don't they just do that? But I guess the way that I had canon that was like uh Moff just wants to see him suffer, and they just like keep fucking with him. Like don't kill him just yet. But yeah, they do it. They are whooping his ass because like I mean the Praetorians are like Jedi level threats. I mean we saw them in fucking the Last Jedi, go up against Rey and Kylo and like these guys are like the precursor to those other guys, but still, like these guys are a big deal, right?
They're a big deal. They got their own theme song when they enter the scene.
Yeah, and they enter like a fucking boy band. They walk in the scene wearing the same suit, and they're all like on the same page and everything, looking badass. Um, but yeah, they make it a point to be like, no, dude, like Din needs Grogu because he's getting his ass whooped right now by these guys, and it isn't until like they work together that Grogu force pushing him to the ground, pulling the weapons away, like that they're able to work together, and Din's able to stab one in the neck and like shoot one in the foot and then the fucking neck or whatever, and like yeah, it ain't easy, man. Like they got to work together to make this happen.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping Din would take one of their weapons, like just permanently. Like, I hope he has a sword somewhere, just in the back of his house. It's like, this is mine now.
Just taking weapons from.
Yeah, because that was like the whole final battle. He's taking weapons from everybody he beats to beat the next guy.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we like season 3, DT. I think we like it.
I think we do, yeah. Well, now that being said, I would like to go. I'm gonna go ahead and share my ranking of the.
Go right ahead.
Not only this season, but like all 3 of the seasons. How I feel about how I would rank them. So I'm gonna let you guys know about that. So from episodes 1 to 8, we have. This is my personal ranking of each episode. So my number 1, or actually, should I start from the bottom or the top?
It's up to you, my guy.
We'll start from the bottom to make it more interesting, I think. So at number 8, again, this is purely my least favorite episode. We're going from least favorite to favorite. So my number 8, at the bottom, I have chapter 19, The Convert, which is the 3rd episode of the season. I talked about it why earlier. It's too long of an episode that I wish they would have spent more time with on other episodes.
Yeah.
It kind of goes away from the focused story that we have, and see, this is where I'll get conflicted because like I do like them focusing on the wider galaxy wide stuff, but I don't know, man. I guess I didn't really like the way they handled it in this episode as much because I like the world building and I like the New Republic stuff and all that, but I don't know. I just wish they would have handled it differently, I suppose. And Eli King, like I knew she was bad. Like, come on,
Yeah.
you're trying to convince us she's not, but she clearly is. At number 7, my second least favorite episode is chapter 22, Guns for Hire, which is the 6th episode. I mean, again, this episode is a bit of a goofier one. I don't think it's bad. It reminds me of like a Clone Wars episode, really. But like Josh said, there's a lot of cameos in here that can be a little distracting. At times. I really did like the world building as well. But just when you compare it to some of the other episodes, this one is clearly one of the weaker ones in my opinion. So that one's 7th. Then this is where things kind of got a little bit more interesting for me. I was kind of unsure if I wanted to put um the first or the second episode here, but I think I put the second episode here. Mine's a Mandalore, which not even that it's just a bad episode, but it's just like I just like the first episode more because it kind of set up the season and it brought in the Anzellans and like it just it had more of like I don't know how to describe it really, but it kind of like I said just sets up the season of what we're doing. And then this second episode, The Mines of Mandalore, is kind of like, all right, we're going back to Mandalore. And it was cool seeing that. But like the whole like spider eye droid thing was kind of weird. I don't really know what's up with that.
I just spent that whole time trying to figure out what the fuck that thing was. Like, I want to know what
like
it is.
It was like taking blood from Din. And I'm just like, what? Like, I don't know what the deal with that is. So I would probably, even though it was cool to seeing some of that, like it's cool that we got to see Pelly again, and you know we got R5 with us on the trip now in this episode. But I don't know, I like it a bit less than the first one, which is my next one. And number 5 is the first episode, chapter 17, the Apostate. I just like how it sets up the season, and we get the Enzellans, and you know, trying to, you know, get IG up again, and it just, I don't know, I just like the way it started off the season. And then for my 4th episode, I have chapter 4, which the main reason I have it up here is because of the flashback stuff. Like that to me is the best stuff of the episode. Like the rest of the episode is not bad, but like if we had more of the fucking flashback stuff, this episode would probably be higher for me, to be honest. But
I got you.
But I really like that. I really love seeing Keller and Beck and the, you know, Operation Nightfall and all that stuff I mentioned earlier. Really, really good. Really, really cool. Then for my number 3 episode, I have The Return, which is the finale. I think I have that one as my number 3. It took me a few watches to kind of put it up here because I'll be honest with you, I had it lower upon first watch because it just like at the time felt like I don't know. It's just like I said, it's just not as a bombastic of an ending as some of the other seasons, right? Like, and it doesn't have to be, but it's just like it was a good episode, but I don't know. I felt kind of like I wasn't as strong on with it at first, I should say. But eventually I rewatched it a couple times and now I have it up to number 3, and it is a really good episode. But I still liked a few more episodes more than that one. Which at my number 2, I have episode 5, The Pirates. The Pirate is my second favorite episode. I really like that episode a lot. I think it's one of my favorite episodes of the entire show. Again, I love Gorian Shard and his pirate gang and the Corsair ship, and the fact that we get to see like all the cool stuff we see in this episode, and you know, Zeb, and like, oh man, just so cool, dude. Like so just added a little bit more world building with Coruscant and New Republic, and I think this is episode Tim Meadows shows up in, and like it's just I really like this episode. It's one of my favorite episodes of the entire show and of the season. But my number 1 favorite episode of the season has to be chapter 23, episode 7, The Spies. I mean, from start to finish, this episode is incredible. We start off with Kane talking to Gideon. Then Gideon talks to the Shadow Council. We get a Thrawn name drop. We have all the badassery that we get to see. And then our boy Paz Vizsla makes the ultimate sacrifice. And wow, what an episode. So that is my favorite episode of the season. And yeah, I would say I really enjoyed the season, but I would say those last 2 episodes kind of like it's weird because I don't not like them. They're just like compared to the rest, I just don't like them as much, you know?
I got you.
But those are my rankings for the season. That's how I felt about it. I really like rewatched some episodes to kind of like get the ranking better because when I first did this, I had it a completely not completely different order, but I had some out of order. But I changed it up here now, so that's how I would rank the episodes this season. And then, if you're curious about how I rank the 3 seasons, personally for me, I would put season 2 at the top, season 1 next, and then this season is probably at the bottom for me. Which again doesn't mean I don't like it because I just told you I did. But I think that's those 2 episodes there kind of take a hit for me there.
I got you.
Compared to like some of the
you should
other
go look at my spoiler tags, DT, now, because
I saw that you did that, and I specifically did not look. I will not look. I'm gonna
I didn't look at yours either. I didn't look at yours either. And guess what? We have the same ranking for the seasons.
Oh, do we?
I'm the same. Yes, we do.
Oh wow! Look at that.
So I was like, well, if DT's gonna spoiler tag this, I'm gonna spoiler tag mine. just so like our friends can see what we think of it. But yeah, same. I didn't rank the episodes. Yeah.
No, that's fair. I did it just because I was like thinking about it for myself, I was like, how do I feel about, like, just in order to help me like get a better grasp on how I feel about this season. I was like, let me just do that.
And I agree with you. Like I don't know if I'd have the exact same ranking because it just come down to itty bitty things, but I definitely agree with your top pick for the spies. Like we get that badass moment. And do you want to explain why you rank your seasons your way, or did you say exactly what it is about each season that made you rank it that way as a total?
No, I haven't.
Okay, go ahead.
For me, like, season 2 is just like it's hard. It's gonna be hard to top season 2, man. Like,
it is.
Like, there's just so much in that season that is like, it's kind of unfair to the rest of the seasons because it has years of anticipation of things that we were waiting on. Like, we had been waiting for years for Boba Fett to return, right? Guess what? He's back. We were waiting years to see that Luke. Guess what? We got to fucking see it after years. We were waiting on Bo-Katan live action. Guess what? She's here. Live action. Bo-Katan. And Ahsoka. And we got to fucking, actually, no, this is not even this show. This is Book of Boba, I guess. Never mind. I can't count it for season 2. But all these things that been waiting for years, like, it's kind of unfair to the rest of the show that season 2 had a lot of firsts that we had been waiting on. There's a lot of anticipation for things that season, and to me, they paid off so well that I was just over the moon, excited and delighted about that season. That season really made me, like, really happy with Star Wars, and just that finale is just forever for me gonna be top. Gonna be hard to top.
Yes, that's the thing.
It's gonna be really hard to top that, man. Like,
nothing's ever made me feel that way. I'm the same as you. Like that way that finale is.
It's really difficult to to reach that again. Which, again, not every season needs to be that, but it's just like once you have that, it's like, man, I want to live on this high again, But
I need that hit. Come on.
Yeah,
I need that
give me that sweet hit. No, but yeah, I guess at this point, I guess you can also kind of count Book of Boba Fett, like those episodes, like kind of in this too.
Throw
but
it in there. Yeah.
I don't do it, but I guess you can, because some of those episodes are very much Mandalorian.
Some of Book of Boba definitely feels like Mando 2.5. No, some parts.
Yeah, so yeah, season 2 for me, that's why it's at the top. Like, it's just, there's so much Star Wars goodness. Like, they made a good Star Wars soup, and we ate deliciously that season. And then season 1, I like the freshness of it, of like, here's this dude, that Mandalorian dude we're following, and he's, saving this baby from being, taken away by the Empire for nefarious, deeds and stuff, and like just building up like the characters that we got to see in season 1 that we now love, and just like setting up the whole show as a whole. I really like that. And then, yeah, season 3, just, it was good, but I think I do, and upon rewatch, I would enjoy the other ones better. So yeah, that's kind of why I have them the way I do, 2, 1, 3. Another thing we didn't even mention was the Purrgil. We got to see the Purrgil in this season.
Yep, we sure did.
Which another Rebels reference. Which, by the way, for those of you out there who have not seen any Clone Wars or Rebels or anything like that, and you're going to be checking out Ahsoka, I would strongly recommend watching both of those before Ahsoka. But if you can only choose one, I would recommend Rebels. Rebels is going to be the one, because based off that trailer and what we know, there's going to be a lot of Rebels tie-ins to that series. So that is what I would recommend. The Purrgil, which we saw this season, the Mando, the space whales, those are from Rebels. They make an appearance there, and they make a very significant appearance in the series finale as well.
They sure do.
But yeah, I think did you want to share why you had your season rankings that way? Or
No, honestly, it's exactly the same as you. It's that for me, it's more like that season. Like nothing has ever made me feel like the way I felt in season 2. You know, that finale, and nothing has since. Like heart pounding. Is it? Isn't it? Crying tears. You know, the whole deal. Nothing has ever really made me feel the way that did. So, like, that's kind of what always put season 2 over the top for me. And like the same as you, like season 1 was just like, man, we're getting this show, and it's about the Mandalorian, and he's so cool. And then they hit you with that twist in that first episode at the very
right
end,
off the
you
bat.
know.
Because
Like
nobody knew about that. Like we had no idea.
So
that was
secret.
a mystery to everyone.
Like it's and season 3 is a victim of its own success, and that's why it's kind of like at the bottom tier. And even then, it's still good. Like I still enjoyed the vast majority of it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I agree with that for sure.
So yeah, I mean, and I'm not like, neither of us really are like these people that get hung up on all the bad. Like it just, yeah, I'm not a keyboard warrior on Twitter. I'll express a thought or two here or there, but I'm not like, man, Kathleen Kennedy's gonna get fired, and man, they're gonna retcon the sequels, and man,
I bet all the sequel deniers were real salty when they saw the Praetorian Guards, man.
Like, yeah,
And they mentioned Hux, right?
It's fine not to like those things. It's fine if you don't, but you don't have to take a pitchfork and a fucking torch to everything either all the time.
My issue with those people is like they hate everything from the sequels. Like I wouldn't consider myself a big sequel fan, but
yeah,
I like when they take things from them and make them cooler or use them in other ways. Like the Praetorian Guards, I thought they looked bad. I think they look even cooler than they did in the movie. Like the helmet design was a lot cooler this time around. It was cool seeing them like, they killed a major character. They killed Paz, bro. Like they did work. Like seeing them mention Brendel Hux, which is Armitage's father, which Armitage Hux, General Hux from the sequels. Like I like when they take things from the movies that in my opinion were not as good and use them into the story now to do other cooler things with them. But I just hate when people are like, if it's from this, then that means it's shit and it sucks and I hate it. It's like, shut the fuck up, dude. Like, shut your mouth. Like, man, I just don't get that. Like, hating every little thing from like stuff you didn't like. Like, who cares, bro? Like, just be happy that they're trying to make it like utilize it in a better way this time. You know what I mean? That's just how I feel about it, though. I'm just sick of people bitching about this.
Just the other thing I was gonna mention is like, it's fine not to like those things. That's totally okay. You can have your criticisms. That's cool. You don't have to piss on anybody else that's having a good time with it, though. And you don't have to be cruel and ugly to them if they're enjoying this thing that you don't enjoy. Like, you don't have to be a terrible person to them. Just be a human being, and like, you can agree to disagree. I do it all the time. There's parts about Star Wars that even DT and I don't agree on, but we're still like best friends, It's the same for me and Majin in the chat. I'm sure there's things in Marvel and Star Wars that maybe we don't agree on. We're still really, really tight brothers and friends, like the whole Discord community I'm a part of is like that. Like, there's things we don't agree on. We're not cruel to each other about it. Like I've seen a lot of on the internet. Like, just try to be a good human being and try to be understanding of people. I know I'm asking a lot. I know I am. But, like, it's really not hard to be, understanding of somebody and why they might like a thing. Like, and I understand why some of you might not like a thing, but I don't hate on you, and I don't think you should be going around and hating on other people that find enjoyment in those things that you don't. And that's all I wanted to say. It's a plea. It's like, can't we all just get along? You know? You don't have to be a toxic jerk all the time just because you don't like a thing. I know that's like the first thing we go to because we're on the internet and we don't have to look at somebody when we're talking to them, and it's very easy to be just toxic on there. I myself was once probably not the most awesome person to be around when I was in my teens because I was angsty and I had a lot of thoughts and opinions, and I felt the need to share those things in a way that probably was not the best, you know. But this is a wiser Josh reaching out to some of you to be like, come on, man, like there's no reason to be like that. Star Wars can be fun for everybody, even if the thing that's happening at the moment might not just be for you. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I certainly have come to the realization that not every single Star Wars thing is going to be for me. Once upon a time, it was. That's why I was kind of a little bit like, you know, the sequels and some other stuff. I'm like, man, I was super, super disappointed by it. But I don't know. I think once you realize that not everything is going to be for you, I think you'll be could be better off for it.
Yeah.
It is my belief that you should focus on the stuff you do love and not the stuff you don't love. Because why would you even waste your time speaking on things you don't even care about, man?
Yeah.
Like, just focus your energy on the things you do like, and spread more positivity instead of more negative. There's too much negativity already out there. That's why, like, I don't know if you guys remember, like, but like years back, if you go back and watch some of our old Clockwork Cantina podcasts, some of our previous episodes, once upon a time, I was like, oh man, we're gonna do a big episode on the sequel trilogy and talk about, you know, what a big missed opportunity it was. Not, I don't really care. I don't care anymore. I'm over it. Once upon a time, if we had done it like a few years back, I would have loved to have done an episode like that. But to be honest with you, I'm just at peace, and I've accepted that those movies are not for me. I don't think they're like, you know, I basically I have my feelings on them, but I don't care to, like, you know, talk about like all the different things that they should have done or they could have done or whatever. Like, it's just, obviously I would have loved for them to have done a bunch of different things to those movies, but I don't care enough about it anymore to like
Yeah,
do
I
a whole
gotcha.
episode on it. It's like, whatever, man. Like,
Hell,
I
I have a thing from this episode that I don't like that we mentioned. We talked about a certain book, but I didn't name the book. I didn't tear down the author. I didn't say nothing terrible about it other than I just think it's a bad book. You know, like,
you know.
yeah, you know, like.
But anyway, yeah, that's the whole point, is that not everything is gonna hit for you, but just focus on what does, you know? There's a lot of it out there. Like, that's something that I've had to learn too, you know, and it's like, well, you know, once upon a time everything was for me, but now it's not. You just gotta focus on what you love and be loud about what you do love. And if you don't love something, then just don't even talk about it. Like, just let people enjoy what they enjoy, and you know, whatever. Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that love Andor more than I do, and you know, I'll good for them, man. I wish it hit for me the way it did for everybody else, but you know, it's just, this is the way it is, you know. Some things hit for you and some things don't.
Yeah.
I know some people don't like the Obi-Wan show as much. I love that show. You know, that's just how it is. Some things you like, some things you don't, and just carry on, man. Just like what you like, and you know, if you're feeling not as positive about some other thing, then just, you know, don't shit on other people for liking it. Just, you know, leave them be. You know, as
And
much as you don't want people to shit on you for things you like. You know what I mean?
yeah. And if you got a better idea, go put it in a tabletop. Go write a story. Go be creative in something, right? You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying that to be a jerk. Put out your ideas into the world. You never know what might come knocking from it. You never know what opportunities might open for you based on that thing. Yeah. Everybody laughs and jokes about fan fiction. Well, I guarantee you, the only way you're going to get better at writing is writing. All right? Talking about writing or being too afraid to write ain't going to get you there. It ain't going to get it done, dude. You know, like...
Yeah, it's like Josh is saying, just focus all that energy into positive energy instead of just spewing nonsense on the internet, being like, fuck this person and that person, and and I hope this person gets fired, and like just like fucking don't be an asshole, man.
Yeah. So that's all just some of the stuff we wanted to say. We wanted to just put some positivity back out there because there's always a lot of negativity. Let's put some positivity out there. Go do some cool, great, creative things, man. DT, I think that's a good note to end on, my friend. Just some good, positive.
The only other thing I wanted to mention really quickly before we end is the future of where we could go with this show.
Yes.
That's the only last thing I wanted to bring up. We kind of mentioned
right.
it briefly, but I wanted to bring it up again.
Hit it on. Let's do it.
So, like I said earlier, I think we're going to be going off. I think we're going to be having a time jump because this season wrapped up nicely, had a happy ending. Din has adopted Grogu, and his name is now Din Grogu, which I'm a little confused about that, by the way, because I thought he was going to be called Grogu Jaren, but I guess it doesn't sound as nice and neat as Din Grogu. But why take his first name? I'm confused about that. I hope they explain that in the future, because I am like genuinely like boggled at that. But I think we're going on a time jump. I think Moff Gideon is dead. Unless, I mean, listen, would I be upset if they bring him back again? No. Because again, I mentioned this earlier, Giancarlo's a great actor. We know he made clones. Who knows if all his clones are dead? Maybe one of them could have made it out, or maybe he could have made it out in that same suit, but he's like extra toasty now, like Anakin. I don't know. Who knows? They could bring him back. At this point, I kind of think they probably shouldn't. But if they do, will I be upset? No, because I think he's great. But I just kind of think that the story of these 3 seasons is kind of culminated and ended, and now we're moving on to other things. So yeah, I think we're gonna have a bit of a time jump, and then going off of the Ragnar thing. I know we were talking about this on Discord, but how cool would it be if Axe? I know you mentioned this too. If Axe was the one that takes care of Ragnar now, right?
Yeah.
Like yo, I fought with your pops, but he's a goner now. But we're trying to rebuild Mandalore, and I'm gonna take you under my wing now, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that'd be cool to see in my opinion. And yeah, I think, like I said earlier, I think it would make sense for a time jump here. Like it's a perfect spot. The previous 3 seasons have all been kind of back to back to back. And everything's kind of been following the whole Gideon and his cloning, and with Grogu, and like I wonder like what the next evolution of these characters is gonna be. Like, are we ever gonna find out the armorer's name? Probably, right? I would imagine so. I hope so.
I feel like we will.
I would like to see her name. I would be cool if we got I know what you're laughing at. It's like, come on, bro. Anyway, I'm not even, we'll talk about that later. It's just, for those of you wondering, it's something in the chat that like somebody came in and hadn't seen the whole season. I'm like, come on.
It just cracked me up. That's all.
But yeah, I hope next time we jump into the next season. First of all, I hope we don't have to wait too long. I hope it's next year, 2024. And then if there is a time jump, which I hope there is, I want to see like maybe I don't expect Mandalore to be fully rebuilt, but like a somewhat rebuilt Mandalore, and like just how the Mandalorians coexist with each other again. Like, is everybody gonna be okay with taking off their helmets? Are they gonna stick to you guys take your helmets off? You guys don't still? Like, is it gonna be a thing of like you can do it if you want to, you don't have to though, or like just how are they gonna coexist, right? Like with all everybody, because everybody is from different factions, and like they all have been living one way for their entire lives up until this point. So yeah, so stuff like that'll be interesting. I wonder what kind of adventures Grogu and Din will be up to. I have a feeling like it'll be more like season 1 or season 2 of them just like going out on adventures, and we're on this planet, and kind of we're going on this planet kind of deal. But hope we see more of Carson Teva as well. And yeah, I'm sure we'll get more New Republic stuff. But yeah, it makes me wonder like what we're gonna be dealing with, in the future. But yeah, any speculation or any thoughts on where we could be going in the next season, Josh?
I don't know really, man. Like I kind of already gave what little I had earlier, uh, for how things might end up, and I don't know. The big thing for me is like, if we don't have Gideon, what kind of is going to take that antagonist role a little bit? Like, if it's going to be like kind of villain of the week type stuff, or
Yeah.
or like I could easily, I just don't know. You know, are the pirates gonna have another thing come around? You know, like that was kind of mentioned. Like, are they gonna build on that a little bit more? You know, stuff like that. I would love to see. One of the things that we didn't really talk about too much on the positives or negatives thing, but and I forgot at the time to mention it, is like, it's cool that, you know, Din and Grogu have their own house, but I would have thought it would have been really cool if they'd stayed on Mandalore and were kind of hanging out there and seeing those interactions a little more.
Yeah,
but I also get why they kind of have their home away from home type deal too, because it's easier for them to go out on adventures and not be all Mandalorians all the time. So I get it, but I thought, man, that'd have been cool. Like, I want Grogu and fucking Ragnar to be like big good homies. I want that to be a thing. Like, if there's a time jump, like, we'll go off and like, what if Grogu ages up enough to be able to have his own little adventures, not necessarily with Din or something, you know, and Ragnar's like his homie, you know, like stuff like that's just kind of in my mind. I don't know how big of a time jump they'll do or anything like that. Majin, I'm gonna ban you from the chat for saying that. For even mentioning that name.
What is she gonna return to, a pile of rocks? Like, what do you mean?
But you know, stuff like that is all I can think of. I don't know. I'm excited for the future, especially because we're gonna get.
We're like kind of we're like at a blank slate now, right? Like, anything can happen again. It's like we followed through with this 3-season story that we've capped off and ended like really neatly. So it's like, who knows, dude? That's why I'm like, apart from how amazing Ahsoka looks, I'm really interested to see what they're gonna bring in with that too. Because I would love to see Sabine and like Boba and all these other Mandalorians, like Fenn Rau, that we haven't seen in live, like yet, group up together. That'd be sick, dude. Like, I want to see them all like, reunite on Mandalore or somewhere, just have all the Mandalorians together, which probably, now that I say that, it's probably going to be the Dave Filoni movie that we're getting, maybe. It'll be like the Avengers Endgame of the Mandoverse. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, much like you, I don't really know what we're gonna see, but I do know is that we got a blank slate again, and that's kind of exciting.
Yeah,
because it could go anywhere.
I got a blasters and bandits question for you. Not spoilery, really.
Actually,
the game takes place during season 3. If season 4 does a time jump, would you guys want a time jump with the Mando crew? And we did that way so I could mess around a little bit with it.
Yeah, well,
is that something?
Actually, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I was also curious. Like, now that the season's over, like, how does that, like, because we started playing like during the season, and now that it's over, it's like, how does this affect like you're in the planning of like what you want to do with this? Now that you know all of the season is
Your
out.
boy has to really not fuck up. That's what has to.
And also, like, in terms of your question, I think it depends, because like, first of all, we got a long wait for the next season, right?
It's true.
So who knows where we'll be by then, and then like, even if if season 4 even has a time jump, so we'll see, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about that when we were talking about the time jump.
Think about. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. All right, DT, any closing thoughts? Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this son of a gun up?
Not really. I don't think so. I'm trying to like rewind. I'm There's probably gonna be something I missed because as we were talking, there was stuff that would pop up in my head, and then
Yeah, I
I
got you.
didn't bring it up, and I forget about stuff. But no, I think we pretty much went over the season. Again, I really enjoyed it overall. I think there's a couple episodes that were kind of which again I don't really hate them, but they just kind of they're just weaker. And then yeah, I would place this season as probably at the bottom for me of the three. But that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. There's a lot of really good stuff that this season introduced and brought in and did, and I'm super excited of uh of the future and speaking of Satine, yeah, to be honest, I'm so surprised they haven't like mentioned her by name. You would think that like with as much history as like has been talked about and like how big of a character Bo-Katan is, like she hasn't mentioned like her like Satine by name at all. Like
I know
even
it's
once.
interesting she mentions her father, but she doesn't mention Satine in
Yeah,
episode
that's
two.
so that's
Two,
I'll be honest
I
with you, that's a
think.
little bizarre to me. Yeah, it's episode 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But like how do you not like I feel like there are certain characters in Star Wars like there's a just really quickly, I'm gonna go on a little bit of a tangent here.
Go ahead. Have
But
at it.
I feel like there are some characters like we're in an era now where there's like a lot of strong female Star Wars characters, a lot of strong Star Wars women. But I feel like there are other women that are just not getting the respect that they deserve. And I'll tell you two of them. One of them is Satine, who has not been mentioned in this series at all. And then the other one that they could have mentioned in the Obi-Wan series is fucking Padme, bro. Like they don't mention her at all either. I think Padme and Satine are getting a little. They don't get enough respect, bro. Like, and I know in the Obi-Wan show they talk about like Obi-Wan and Leia talk about Padme, but they never mention her by name,
Yeah,
or
they
they
never say
never
her
like,
name.
or like, or Anakin and Obi-Wan never mention Padme or anything like that either. Like she's such a huge character in like the like both of those women, Satine and Padme, such huge characters in the galactic history, and I feel like they don't get the the respect or like the due that they're deserved. Like I feel like they should be mentioned more, and they're just not. But
I
anyway,
get you.
that's my little tangent. I don't want to go out too bad with it, but I still thought that I'd bring it up since we were talking about Satine.
No, you good. It's our show. We'll talk about whatever we want.
Indeed, but we're wrapping it up. So I just wanted to share my final thoughts there. I'm
No,
sure
you're
I'll think
good.
of other things, but just fucking hit me up on the Discord or Twitter or whatever. We'll talk about it if you guys want.
Yeah. We've had a good show. I've enjoyed this show. I've enjoyed talking Mando with you. So,
Yeah.
and with chat. So let's go ahead and do our shout outs. DT, I'm going to throw you up at the end. Here you are. You are on the main screen.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this episode 157 of the Clockwork Cantina, season 3 of The Mandalorian. A lot of fun. Quite a bit of Star Wars we've been talking about here lately, huh? But guess what? We got more Star Wars coming.
We sure do.
Jedi Survivor is coming up, and I will be playing that. And Josh will be as well. And we are in for a time. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm gonna be doing some probably long streams on Friday and Saturday. And I'll be streaming before that as well. I'll be doing something tomorrow and the day after probably. I might take Thursday off, but I'll probably do tomorrow and Wednesday. But yeah. Definitely stay tuned for that. I got stuff coming up, but I'm really excited about Jedi Survivor. And then next week, join us for our next D&D role building episode, which will be fun. So yeah. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for watching or listening. See you next time. May the force be with you. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching this episode about Mando. Shout out to my co-host DT3, one of the best friends I got, and I love talking Star Wars with. I have a whole laundry list of things to go through. Heroes and Fables. Make sure to follow the Heroes and Fables channel if you like Blasters and Bandits, which is a tabletop RPG Star Wars game that we play. DT is one of the players. I am the DM, and we have some other of our great friends from the Discord on that channel. Twitch.tv/Heroes and Fables. Go check it out. We're going to do a lot of tabletop stuff over there in the future. I'm a dice creator, I'm a dice maker, and I stream dice making on Twitch. It's on this channel, the twitch.tv/Josh902 channel, and we are going to be streaming that this week, all the way up to Jedi Survivor, probably. I do not have a time when that will be live. It's usually around dinner time, and I'll just stream making dice. I have commissions to work on, so you guys can watch me do that. I have the setup for that. Hell, maybe we'll build some Legos one day if I want to, and just test it out and see whatever. Just follow the channel. That's what we'll be doing up to Jedi Survivor, and then we'll be playing Jedi Survivor as well. Go follow us on all the socials. I got like 3 Twitters that I need you to follow, so follow all of them. And join our Discords and tweet at us and comment below and all that stuff, man. Subscribe to DT's YouTube channel where this VOD will be. Subscribe to the MP3 audio thing. Audio wherever you listen to us at. We're on Spotify. We're on Amazon Podcast. We're on Google Podcast. We're on all the podcasting places. So give us a follow on there. That's gonna do it for this week's Cantina. We are gonna do a quick host. I think Val is streaming, so we'll go give Val a raid. I always say host, but they got rid of hosting. So we'll raid Val. Stick around in the chat if you're live. YouTube, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.